And we should be live right about now. Waiting for confirmation as usual.
I have the ad popped up, so yeah, we're live.
Alrighty, we're live. Luke isn't here yet. He should be coming, but I guess he'll show up later.
Yeah. Well, he's on his phone at the moment.
Right,
at least according to Discord.
For this thrilling, brand new, exciting Dissected Alive, or finally going back to Fleetway and Sonic X again. Whee! Indeed. Was that audio? Did someone do an impression of me?
I just recently added in a soundbite to the soundboard, so it's just the old classic "Wee" from one of your old cartoons. Specifically the Sonic Adventure 2 minutes, because I think that was the only tune video I could find that just had a clean audio of just the "wee" bit.
Yeah, I love loud background music. Luke complained about that before.
And of course, we got to give special thanks for Addie for her thumbnail, which of course has a lot of 69s, because we got an episode that is 69 from Sonic X and an issue from Fleetway, which is also 69. So it's all
69 dudes.
Yay, I'm happy. So, are you a big fan of that pose?
Which one?
The 69 pose. I guess we shouldn't be talking about that.
That's not really a pose.
Yeah.
Unless you're referring
A
to
sexual
how
act, then, whatever you want to call it.
You know, coincidentally, with the 69 stuff related here, fun enough, one of them is actually related to shipping.
Okay.
Oh,
they knew.
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, you're right. How coincidental.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Let's not think too deeply about that. That's for Rule 34 or DeviantArt or for Affinity or whatever you want to call it. Let's go to a safer place than the internet. Us, because we're so safe. Yeah, chaotic show up in both Fleetway and Sonic X. So another chaotic episode. What a coinky dink. And of course, Sonic Prime has its season 2 released. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't do a full video about it. But if anyone else wants to talk about it, I guess you can say have a quick review now if you want.
Or forever hold your peace.
Never hold your peace. There will never be an official video about it.
And I'll just keep my bit very brief. So it's I watched season 2 and I don't know, it just kind of felt like most of the time it kind of feels like a lot of filler, and that's all I'll say. Well, I'll talk more about it when we eventually get around to doing a proper episode on Sonic Prime season 2/season 1B.
I did like that now that a lot of characters are moving around through the Shatterverse, we get more interactions of characters meeting their alternate selves. So, like, we get 9 got to see Sails and Mangy for a little bit, and Renegade got to see Knuckles the Dread, and well, I guess Rusty Rose and Black Rose saw each other in season 1, but like now they're becoming friends, and I freaking love that. It's adorable, and then they both got a glimpse of Thorn Rose, and they were both in awe of her badassery. So yeah, that kind of stuff is cool.
Alright, plenty of good stuff then. But yeah, so I guess it's now confirmed there's only 3 dimensions.
For now.
Sure, yeah.
Which kind of makes...
I mean, they did say that they detected more of the things, but oh wait, yeah, there is 2 more. There is 5 worlds. Because there's also
that's dead, I presume.
Yeah, Ghost Hill, as it's called, and
the
Dead Planet. Yeah, I don't remember what it was called.
That kind of makes it more disappointing that the pirate and the jungle one are so random. Because New York was a kind of cool idea. Like, what if Sonic didn't exist and Eggman took over? But then Jungle and Pirate don't really have like a clever theme like that. It's just like, it's just random. So
Okay. The dead place is called the Grim.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Ghost Hill
A bit
sounded
more-
more fun, I guess.
Yeah, the area that Nine discovered. Yeah.
Alrighty, fair enough. But yeah, kind of makes the jungle and pirate being so random a little disappointed. Because at first I thought, oh, they're just going to like 50 different dimensions, so I guess they're just going for all the generic themes. But if there was only 3, you'd think they put a little more thought into it. Like each represents like a different facet of the universe. Or maybe it does. I mean, I guess you have like jungle and New York. It's kind of like nature versus technology. Although, where does the pirate stuff fall in? Then neutral? Is water different than nature? I don't know.
Global warming.
Global warming, yeah. I
Yeah,
guess.
global
Here
warming.
we go.
I guess that would fit the theme. Fair enough. Anyway, just
Oh, so
Yeah.
that would mean Boss Cage Maze is past, New York is present, and no place is future.
oh my, yeah. I guess that's one way to look at it.
Hmm.
Such a bleak output.
Is the
Yeah.
picture I have on screen actually from the show?
No, that looks like fan art.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I was kind of confused because I was looking for season 2 screenshots, but this looks hand painted background, so I was kind of confused. Like if it isn't like fan art or something. So
I'm
this
just
is what
wondering
happened
if
on
you-
the show.
Yeah, that's definitely
Kind of
fan
wondering
art
about
site.
person.
Oh, did I put on
One person
fan
be like,
art?
"I'll be
Oh, that
muting."
sucks.
Yeah, yeah, it's like the 3rd time you've put up fan art in your videos. Yeah.
Oh, my apologies to the artist.
Whoever you may
'Cause-
be.
Yeah, because well, yeah, that whole Sonic Superstars bit. I noticed like, oh yeah, you uploaded like the wrong image of the Lego Death Egg robot set, and then later someone pointed out like, oh, that bit from Sonic Generations, yeah, that's a fan made mod and not the actual level.
It's not easy grabbing stuff from Google, I guess. But hey, if Sega
But it-
official can make that mistake, then so can I. It just makes me
Yeah, like
confident
when-
that Sega's official staff.
Ah, yes, like when they stole Rapid Knight's model of Classic Amy to be used in Sonic Origins Plus and Superstars, and not crediting the artist.
Allegedly.
As far as we can tell.
We don't know about the backstory, yeah.
Of course, then again, I remember I had a same mistake as well when I did my whole review on the Sonic movies, and I was talking a bit about like Shadow and his different versions, and with IDW Shadow, I wanted to pull out the whole "Cowards Run, I Win," but I didn't notice until after I posted the video that I accidentally pulled a fan-made edit where they swapped the dialogue, so it's "Cowards Win, I Run." So it's like that was the first thing that popped up. I mean, you'd think with how people hate that scene, the proper image would have been shown up first.
Guess people really love that parody.
I did the exact same thing when I was talking to a friend about that scene.
Ah.
Right. Well, shall we keep wasting time until Luke comes, or shall we just get to it because we have plenty to talk about?
Speak of the devil.
Hey.
You hear me?
Yes, I
Yeah.
Sir Lookington, welcome.
Hey.
Had difficulties loading up Discord on my laptop, and it just took way too long. They started updating. I was like, shit, and it was nearly 7 o'clock, and I was like, shit. So I tried to switch to my other PC to see if it would load, and oh my god, I'm just
You need a breather to calm down for all the stress.
yeah. You
Maybe
never
next
had that
time-
before.
Yeah, well, maybe next time turn your laptop on about half an hour early. So at least then
Right.
you're more prepared.
Well, I put my laptop on about an hour ago, and I thought, well, I've got extra time, and I turned Discord on, and it just didn't load up in time.
Yeah, always fun when technology fails you.
So what were you talking about for the last 10 minutes then?
Not much, wasting time. We'll talk a bit about Sonic Prime Season 2. It's not an official review because I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, if you saw it and you want to say something, go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I thought it was fine. It was pretty much just... I mean, it pretty much confirmed that we're not going to see many new universes like the pirate. It was just going to be the pirate, Boss Gage, and New Yoke, and it was just a game of hot potato with the prism shards. There were some good action scenes. There were also some dumb moments involving Sonic, but yeah, I thought it was fine.
Alrighty, and that's pretty good then. Yeah. Guess I drew all our other dimension versions for nothing in the previous Dissected.
Yeah, because I think it's going to be due to its limitations, we're not going to see much outside of it.
Yeah, so they're basically sharing the same budget as Sega. Cheap.
Well, I mean, the animation, the action scene's still higher budget. And to be honest, I kind of prefer it because it's more fun to see the actual dynamic between the dimensions rather than just an endless series of random dimensions. So I guess I like the idea, but then again, I haven't seen the episodes yet, so I shouldn't make any judgment calls yet.
Yeah, it's definitely cool seeing the different universes interact.
Well, there you go then. Already looking forward to it, and maybe we'll do an official Dissected on it or not. We'll see. Right, shall we get going on Sonic X and Fleetway? I guess that's a yes. So let's go to Sonic X episode 69. This is where you go to with the Wii.
Dude! 69, dudes!
Hey,
Exactly.
We're so immature. So, does anyone wants to do the synopsis of Amy's love adventure?
Sure, I guess I'll take this one. So the episode begins with, oddly enough, Best Human, Helen, along with, Danny and Francis, but whatever. They're trying to hack Chris's computer so that they can use the portal to go to Sonic's world, because, as you do. But Chris's security is too good, so they're never gonna get through, so they give up. Anyway, back to the characters who matter. The heroes are looking for a Chaos Emerald, but there's a whole bunch of static in space, I guess. So it's messing with their sensors, and then they finally find one inside of what they believe to be a meteor, or I guess it'd be a comet. And so they grab it with Typhoon's grabby arms. But no, it's a spaceship with little weird aliens inside of it. And then they explain that they're plant.
I think they're radishes or something. At least they're supposed to be plants, maybe?
I don't know, maybe they look more like Chow in some ways.
Yeah, they kind of resemble Chow in it.
Yeah, so
but
go ahead.
Maybe they're ancients.
Yeah, why not?
The ancients in their baby forms.
Yeah, but they explain that their planet is sick, and they're trying to find someone who can heal it. But they also have a Chaos Emerald, and they won't give it to you under any circumstances because they love it, and they're never give it up, and then they give it to them as soon as they get back to their planet.
Is it based on the American version? Because in the Japanese version, Sonic and Francis immediately want to steal it. They say, "Oh, do you have a Chaos Emerald? Oh, thank you." Just immediately grab it. It's like, no, what? We just showed it. We didn't say you could have it. But I guess in the American version, it was different.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that, there's this ironic little moment where Amy talks about how weird they are, but she says it right after they talk about fortune telling.
Which is supposed to be her thing, yeah.
Which is her thing, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess she never
tarot
learned.
cards doesn't exist. So.
Yeah.
There's this hilarious moment where, Amy is not interested in helping these little creatures because they're not going to give them the Chaos Emerald until one of them mentions that their planet has love spells. And immediately, Amy just does a 180, frantically types the coordinates into the computer.
Of course.
Melting Man, you wanted to say something, or we interrupted you? Sorry.
Oh yeah, the whole bit with Amy not knowing about the fortune telling thing. Yeah, I guess in this universe she never learned them back then, or this might be a prequel of how she had an interest in tarot cards and all that.
I guess.
Interesting.
Right, back to Sala.
Yeah. They go to the planet, and immediately Amy just drags Sonic along to all of these places for like fortune-telling purposes and romance purposes. There's also not coincidentally, ironically, there's a scene where Cosmo gets her fortune read, and the 4Kids dub actually added an indication that her and Tails would end up together. Which is funny, because usually the 4Kids is like downplaying the romance between them. So that was interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely a little more downplayed in the Japanese version.
Yeah. In the Japanese version, the fortune teller just mentions that, like, normally plants don't get along well with animals, and he was, like, referring to the whole crew. But in the English dub, he specifically brings up romance.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting. Also, apparently, it's hinted that Chris has a crush on Helen, which kind of came out of nowhere, but...
That's weird. I kind of thought they were already married in that future world there.
Yeah. But, I mean, can't blame him. She is best human.
Ah, yes.
There was, like... So they discovered the source of the sickness of the planet, in a scene that is entirely cut from the dub. And, when Sonic declares that he will destroy the sickness, he just gets swarmed with Lucky Charms from all of the freaking aliens. And again, like a little joke was cut from the 4Kids dub where Sonic says like, "Oh, I don't need these." In the 4Kids dub, he just said, "Oh, they gave me a bunch of these. That's cool." But then, as soon as Chris is like, "Oh, the planet Cancer is surrounded by water," Sonic's like, "Oh God, I need that water protection charm."
Which then doesn't work in true Simpsons
Yeah.
glasses meme.
I mean, he didn't drown, so
Maybe they did work. Yeah, who knows?
yeah, he was quick to say that it didn't work, but I mean, he didn't drown.
He was floating on the water.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and so yeah, they used the Sonic Power Cannon to solve all of their problems. I mean, to destroy the planet's cancer. And yeah, everything starts going back to normal, even though they didn't put the planet egg back.
That is
So
so
that's-
confusing. I'm so confused what
Yeah.
the planet egg actually does. Because we already never really saw like an immediate change. Most planets just seem to keep doing what they do. And now they even mention that it's not actually the lack of planet egg that causes the trouble, but a cancer. And even worse, they also mentioned that animals and plants are never together. So at first I thought it was always an effect of the planet egg missing. But now apparently the lack of vegetation is just normal. So now I'm so utterly confused what a planet egg actually does. Like this episode completely destroyed all its relevance. Oh well. Yeah,
but-
some strange retconning here, yeah.
But yeah, plenty to talk about. So they found a cure for cancer, just to shoot a miniature Sonic in your body.
There is something I want to bring up that really made me burst out laughing. Not just 2 minutes in, there was a shot of a framed photograph of Chris with all the Sonic friends. It reminded me so much of one of those weird pictures you get on DeviantArt where you would have people photoshopping themselves with fictional characters.
Yeah, well, seems.
Yeah, you know, like here's me and my best friend Sonic. See, he's real. And also, if you notice very closely that the lower half of Amy's been cut off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you don't see her legs there.
It's right up there with that moment in Shadow the Hedgehog where you see a framed photograph of Sonic and Shadow on the president's desk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Classic, but hey, makes sense that they never actually posed for that photo, so Chris had to retroactively Photoshop that together from stuff he had. Wouldn't be surprised.
Eh. And no Cream the Rabbit, so it already gets a downvote.
Yep.
Damn, the cream erasure has been going on for a long time.
Yep. Oh well. But yeah, I bet you love this episode, Melting Mode, all the cute girls getting a lot of focus.
Well, I thought the whole Tails and Cosmo thing that was nice. So we get more development. Well, get more scenes of them together and shipping, especially at the end where they have their moment and yeah, Cosmo trips on a wire, and then they both go flying and land in a pool of water, and then they just spend a moment like gazing at the moon, and then that really pisses off Amy because that was meant for a trap for her and Sonic. And the way the episode ends is kind of weird in both versions. Like in the Japanese dub, she's more ranting about like, Sonic wasn't here, and you idiot, da da da. But in the English dub, her anger is more towards Tails and Cosmo taking up the screen time. Yeah, stop being no gaga and all that.
Oh well.
I do find it pretty funny that the main focus of the episode is Amy trying to bang Sonic.
Yeah.
It's very creepy sometimes, yeah. Especially when he gets his big close-ups. This time, Sonic will be mine!
Oh yeah, with that evil Amy face, yeah.
Completely equipped with a million charms and all that. But she never used tarot cards. What a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually there was the scene at the end where she like set a trap for Sonic, where like if you fall into a lake at the same time and then look at the blue moon together, you'll be destined lovers or something, whatever. But Tails and Cosmo ended up falling into the trap instead. And there's like a funny change between the English and the Japanese and the 4Kids version, where like in the Japanese one, she's just like complaining about Sonic, saying, "Oh, I hate you, but no, I love you."
Oh yeah, I pointed that out.
Okay.
Just confused about everything.
So, sorry, yeah, I'm kind of trying to. Anywho, yeah, I loved that. There was also a weird change where like all of the attractions, the tourist attractions, had their names changed in English just to be more alliterative. Like, Lover's Rock became Romance Rock. Lover's Lake became Lake of Love, because I guess. And then Matchmaking Shrine became Matchmaker Mountain. Which is a silly change. But, you know.
Busy work, yeah. Yeah, I gotta say, I love the world building here because that's kind of lacking in Sonic X a lot lately. That we don't really get much world building of other planets, so it's kind of fun to actually explore planet for once. Even though it's basically a joke for the most part, but I still kind of liked it, and then just kind of interacting with the town and all that. It's a fun concept. Also, am I the only one where the space travelers kind of gave me a Pikmin feel?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they kind of resemble Pikmin and also Troll Dolls as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Trolls. They're like Chow Pikmin trolls.
Yeah. That's why they wouldn't give up the emerald. They were constantly trolling Sonic. Haha.
Yeah, they introduced this weird concept of some that animals and plants don't get along, which kind of comes out of nowhere and pretty late in this season. You'd think that would be brought up earlier. And I guess that only refers to actual plant people and not plants, I assume? Because
yeah, the whole plant people thing, yeah.
Sonic and other animals still eat plants, although most of the time they eat meat, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, there is world building in this one, but not much, so I still barely understand what the heck is going on. Oh well. I like the aesthetics of this episode. Very colorful.
Yeah.
Kind of abstract in a fun way. Kind of Arabian Lego-ish.
Also, Sonic is so cool he could defeat cancer.
Oh
Yeah. It's the cure to cancer all along. Who knew?
Yeah, wasn't there some kind of like medical cell thing that's like named after both Sonic and Robotnik?
Yeah,
yeah.
Sonic Hedgehog and Robotnik Kinin. Something like that.
Yeah.
Probably inspired by this episode, I'm sure. But yeah, is there anything else we can bring up?
Let's see.
I think we talked about the whole episode for the most part.
It's
Other than that,
episode...
Chris is really a jerk that he never contacted anyone back on Earth or didn't plan on doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just had no interest in contacting Helen, Francis, and Michael Jackson. I mean Danny.
Which even worse is now it's revealed he's in love with Helen, or maybe even married with her. Because if he's married to her, it's even more of a dig move. Not even gonna show I'm okay. Just to be worried about me forever. Bye.
Yeah, I just kind of assumed that he was married to Helen in the future.
Apparently not.
Well, hey, at least Helen deserves better than Chris Thorndike.
Indeed, a good opportunity for her to. But she's too pure for that. She'll keep waiting for him.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doing that whole waiting thing.
Without
Like,
Chris for a while, I might as well head off back home in my motorized wheelchair.
yeah, there it is.
Perfect.
I like to imagine, I think, oh, it looks like Chris is not coming back. Dibs on the house.
Dibs on the
She
whole
owns
scientific
Voldemort.
facility. Man, that guy's rich.
Yeah, his secret stash of sonic porn.
Yep.
Oh god.
Yeah, I already mentioned it, but I thought it funny how bit of assholes they are about the Gale's Emerald. They immediately want to steal it from, and Knuckles immediately wants to use violence to get the Gale's Emerald from the aliens. It just amused me. But yeah, that's all I can mention about this episode. That was fun. Shall we move on?
Yeah, it's a nice episode for all the Tails and Cosmo shippers.
Yeah.
And Knuckles being gullible again. Poor Knuckles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was another weird thing with like Knuckles getting his fortune weird. It's like, oh, you must oh, you are like kind and whatnot, but you are deceived. And he's like, wait, how do I stop myself from being deceived? And what? Yeah, like the English does, like, oh, put this bag over your head and make chicken noises at the crowd. But then the Japanese version just, oh, just rub this towel on your head or something. So it's like, okay, that's kind of a weird change there.
Yeah, like they just want to change just for the heck of it because it doesn't really matter.
Well, Well, I mean, the joke is like in the English dub, his fortune is that he will make a fool of himself. And Knuckles is like, how do I stop myself from doing that? And he's like, put this towel on your head and make chicken noises all throughout town. He's like, cool, I don't want to seem foolish.
Oh, yeah, then it's a different joke. Okay, fair enough. And it just made it more explicit. Well, with the Japanese version, it's more
It's
inferred.
kind of like a joke in itself, like how most fortune tellers are usually scammers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was actually going to come up a lot more often in this, but no, all of the fortune tellers seem to be pretty legit.
Yeah, that is odd.
Yeah, they do imply they kind of know it's not entirely real, but also that, okay, having faith in and on itself is what makes it work. So they kind of do it both ways. Like, they acknowledge it's probably fake, but in a way that makes it real. Or something, or just believing in it. Oh, well. I guess I'll just pick the middle ground for that. Anyway, Sonic X Episode 70, where finally the Meta-X actually become a little more serious. Anyone who wants to do a synopsis?
I guess I'll do this one. Alright, so number 70, it's, alright, I'm trying to remember how this story goes. So, so they're, Chris and the gang on the Blue Typhoon, they're fighting some ships earlier, but of course that's only in the Japanese version. But anyway, they're going in. Tails is doing some repairs on the Master Emerald power source, and Cosmos is checking up on him. And then they notice there's this spaceship that's being chased by the Meta-X, and it's like, oh, he must be in trouble. We must go and save him. So they do a bit of fighting and then chasing the ship, and then they enter this big void, and then it turns out the ship that they were chasing was actually Deco in disguise, and then he hightails it out of here, and then the rest of the Meta-X shows up, where it turns out, oh no, Eggman is now siding with the Meta-X. So now it goes into this big epic battle with a Sonic team going up against the Meta-X, and then they said, alright, we're gonna destroy the mothership with the giant cannon, so they try that, but Eggman uses a big force field that blocks off the ships. And, of course, that doesn't work, and Tails is very distraught, because apparently this is the first time the cannon has failed on them. So, yeah, things are starting to look bleak. Eggman's having a fun time being on the Meta-X side, or so we think. But, then Sonic gets a new ability with his, it's like some kind of hover boots, where this time it gives him, like, the energy to create energetic balls to kick at people. So yeah, so it's basically Sonic playing soccer or football in space.
Playing Detective Conan.
In space.
Yeah. So yeah, fights going on. Yeah, Knuckles got electrocuted by the Master Emerald being affected by the gravitational area or whatever. So yeah, poor Sonic and Knuckles are out of the picture, and Tails is very distraught, and he feels like he's just he's not a good captain. He's doing the wrong things, and then and this time it's Cosmo that helps Tails feel better, because in the previous episode Cosmo was downing herself and Tails helped her, so now it's Cosmo's turn. So thanks to that, Tails now has his confidence again to fight off the Metarex. And despite Sonic being damaged, he's still he's not yet fight. Oh yeah, he's ready to fight again. So after doing some planning, they decided to They decided to, instead of shoot in the front, they shoot in the back to try and create some kind of opening so that they can at least escape from that weird portal dimension and do some damage to the Metarex ships. And they managed to do that, and of course, with Robotnik manages to hide behind the mothership to shield himself. So yeah, they're like, curse these heroes, they defeated us, but we'll get them soon. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's kind of a Tails-centered episode.
It's a very intense episode too. Like, I was expecting season 3 to be constantly like this, because so far the Metarex have been a complete joke. But man, this episode is the first time they actually get in trouble. I was kind of very impressed by it. Even up until the end, usually at the point where, okay, now everything is going well for the heroes because we need to be wrapping up. Even at that point, things were still going wrong. And man, Sonic and Knuckles is just knocked out and really hurt, and Tails has an actual breakdown. Way more effective than ever in Sonic Forces. So man, that was a really awesome episode. I love this one. And it was so funny to
feel it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Hold me. Yeah, I did like how it has that Star Trek feel to it, and I was rather surprised how out of nowhere Eggman joined the Metarex and is now one of the 4 main Metarex bosses.
Yeah, he's the new Red Pine. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a good point.
He's not red on him.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it when he's just a child hyperactively bouncing around in their in their control room while the others are super serious. Even though this is a very tenseful, serious episode, it had a lot of hilarious moments like that.
Yeah. That's another bit where like Deco and Boku are watching from their ship, who's Robotnik and Boku just going all crazy and flying around, and it's kind of weird. And like in the English dub, it talks more about like, oh, you think Eggman should be a little more serious about the situation, but in the Japanese version, it's a little different, where they added like, oh, Metarex battleship, it should have been Eggman battleship. And then there's an additional scene that's only in the Japanese version where they think Eggman's acting all crazy is because secretly he misses Shadow, as we get a cut to the Chaos Emerald in their ship, because I guess Shadow and Rouge went MIA after that whole deal with Molly.
Yeah, it's a bit of a... It's kind of like we're missing a scene in between the last episode and this one.
A bit taken aback about it too. Like, did I miss something?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of implied at that episode, but it wasn't very clear, so... They make a bit of a jump all of a sudden, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oof, but yeah, a lot of things to say. There were a lot of moments that made me laugh. I like the scene where you saw all the Metarex like pushing a button, and then the yellow guy just explodes his entire console and presses the button. That made me laugh very hard.
Yeah.
Just to prove a point.
Man, I love jokes like that. Another joke I laughed that wasn't really intended as a joke, it was actually a serious moment, is at the end where you see everyone cheering very happy and all the main characters get a close-up, but then all of a sudden it cuts to Knuckles dead on the ground. It almost felt like a joke out of my parodies. We win! Yay! Yay! And then just dead. Especially in the English version where there's like heroic music playing on that shot. Like, don't think that's appropriate.
I guess they're like, yay, Knuckles is dead.
I mean, he isn't dead, he's just hurt, but still, such a dramatic shot.
Knuckles is dead, and the peasants rejoiced.
Jeez. You are turning into a Monty Python. Man, but this is really the first episode I really hate the music of the English version. Because the Japanese version is such a tense episode, especially when you see Knuckles like walking down the corridor, desperately trying to get to the Master Emerald while he's wounded. In the Japanese version, it's a very tense moment. You hear this alarm going off and silent, and he's just desperately struggling, and then in the American version, constant cartoon music playing. But yay, it's a fun adventure! It's like, damn it, American soundtrack, shut up!
Yeah, that's always why the Japanese soundtrack is much better. They do a better job with handling the more atmospheric moments.
True. Yeah, so far there wasn't an episode that really bothered me except for this one, because this is the most tenseful episode of the whole Sonic X so far, man. They really ruined it there. Oh well. And the next episode they also kind of ruined the music, but that's for later.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Aside from changes from the music, I didn't see too much like big changes between the dubs. I know in the Japanese version there's this very lengthy scene that's only in that version where before they chase after the ship, there's this big argument between Tails and Knuckles about like the Master Emerald going all haywire with the gravitational flux or whatever, causing it to act weird. And then eventually they like calm down, like, okay, sorry, I am the captain after all. And then Knuckles is like, wait, were you trying to make a pun? That was terrible.
I didn't even get that one. I said cap as in a hat? Cap?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying.
That's a really stretch. But then again, that was a joke that was a bad that one. But yeah, Luke, what do you think of this episode?
As I said, very intense. It was like something out of Star Trek or Star Wars with a lot of action. I mean, I was very surprised how Eggman is suddenly with the Meta-X, because in most episodes he appears to be against them, but it's like appears to be buddies with them now. And yeah, I mean, there's even a moment where Tails had a breakdown because he appeared to be in a no-win situation, and like you think like how they're going to overcome this. And then they all decide, let's change the force of physics or something, change the laws of physics or something, or like reverse the polarity of the neutron flow.
Yeah,
Random, yeah. I didn't get the
Because I was like, so basically they have to like reverse the polarity of the vortex or something to destroy the wormhole. And I was like, okay, this is what. I mean, it made more sense when Star Trek is doing it.
Well, it's less Star Trek and more Super Friends, like the 60s Superman shows.
If we could reverse the polarity of the quasi-physics of the blah blah blah.
But yeah, Tails breaking down was really effective in this episode, man. And it really affected me just seeing him just completely dead, staring just dead and 1,000-yard style. What was it called?
Yeah, 1,000-mile stare.
Yeah,
that one. And then just screaming, "I can't do it anymore!" Man, I wish Sonic Forces did more like that. It was much more effective than just, Tails is crazy, and he's just kind of cowardly, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tails has quote unquote lost it, and yet he's fine just fixing up the Omega.
So here he lost it, and with good reason, because they really build up that how desperate the situation is, how he's just no way out of it. So very intense episode. I also kind of like the moment where Chris is like, "Eggman, you betrayed us," or Robotnik's like, "What do you mean? I'm always your you idiot."
Yeah, I've always hated you, bastards.
Betray you? I'm your enemy. Was that in the English version too? I don't recall.
I think the dialogue was a bit different in the English dub. I can't remember what the lines were exactly.
Oh well. Yeah. Anything else? Sala, you got anything to say?
Well, I did have like one kind of observation about this episode. It's just same as the last one. When in doubt, Sonic Power Cannon.
Yeah, they really love playing that up. Although in this episode they do it with good reason, because this time they fail to really just pump it in how hopeless the situation is. Oh, here's the usual generic way how they end every single problem, except this time it doesn't work. So just to cut them off, saying nope.
I could point out how I like how they gave Sonic different shoes for different abilities. Like, he has one that can have him kick a glowing football, and another one that makes him the ring road kind of thing.
Yeah, that's really a theme in this season. Yeah, feels kind of video gamey, as if it was based on a video game we never got. I mean, this whole season does feel like a perfect video game. I'm kind of surprised it never turned into one. I mean, you travel to different planets, different zones. Sonic has all these shoes.
It became Sonic Chronicles.
Yeah, Sonic Chronicles, basically, yeah. This last half of it, anyway.
Yeah, that is a shame. It feels like the Sonic X game we never got. Instead, we got Sonic X on the Leapster. learning about numbers and shit.
Yeah.
A true classic.
Still love that joke. Still love that joke that someone animated of like, "You cannot defeat my robot, Sonic." Oh yeah? 2 + 2 = 4. No, my only weakness.
Dissing my only weakness.
One thing also made. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Zella.
I think there actually is like a yokai in Japanese myth that it'll like kill you, but the only way to scare it off is to show it a math assignment with a perfect score.
Okay. He's really.
Yeah, my ego.
I guess he's really encouraging kids to.
Algebra!
Yeah.
Science.
Oh!
What was that, Luke? I didn't hear.
He was like, 1 algebra! No!
Poor algebra doesn't get any respect.
At least it's not geometry. That class was a bitch to get through in high school.
I hated long division myself.
Another thing that made me laugh in this episode is there's a big long break where there's a shield up and the enemies can't attack for 5 minutes. So they're like, okay, for 5 minutes, as soon as the shield is gone, we're just gonna blast them. So they're all have their cannons aimed at the right place. They're all waiting for that countdown, ready to blast. Then as soon as the shield is gone, they still don't shoot. In fact, the bad guy even has to yell at them, "The target is a blue typhoon." It's like, weren't you already aiming, you idiots? That made me laugh a lot. What did you do the past 5 minutes, you morons?
And we're waiting. Shoot them, you idiots! You're waiting. What?
That was the whole point. That was kind of bothering me because it's such a tenseful moment. Like they're all, oh man, as soon as the shield is down, we're gonna blast them, and then nothing. And then, yeah, shoot the blue typhoon. It's like, good morning, sir. Little badly prepared there, aren't ya?
Yeah. Sounds like they've got George Bush in charge of the whole operation.
Oh,
Mission
wow.
accomplished.
So yeah,
Yeah, it was funny, just so anticlimactic that the shield comes down and nothing happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually they shoot, but way too long, too late. Yeah. Oh well. So yeah, anyone else has something to say about the episode, or shall we move on?
I can't think of much.
I guess there was a tiny change at one point when Sonic has the new shoes, and he like kicks one of the orbs of power, and he takes out 3 Metarex in once. And in the Japanese version, he calls it a hat trick because soccer. But in the English dub, he doesn't. He just says 3 points.
Because America doesn't get soccer.
Yeah.
Oh, makes sense.
You would.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense with like American, like, oh yeah, soccer, but I don't know. Maybe they just don't have soccer in other parts of the universe.
Yeah.
Oh well, makes sense, I guess. So now the grand finale of the Sonic X episodes this stream. 71,
Yeah.
Return of the Chaotix.
Can I do this one?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, basically, it starts off what appears to be an Eggman-centered episode with the big man, Dark Oak, saying, all right, good job, everyone, let's have a party. Because they were holding like a big gala with Eggman and all the other Metrex bosses, even though they don't appear to have mouths. The Deacon Boko had a bit of a private word with Eggman, saying, like, he shouldn't act too overconfident, otherwise they might turn on him. So Eggman says, okay, what should I do? And they suggest that he should suck up to them, take them out to golf, give them something nice, that sort of thing. And
Get them back massages, yeah.
yeah. And then suddenly it changes to the Chaotix, where they've crash landed on a planet and they change their they turn their detective agency office into a bar. So you see like Vector playing on the piano, and all that, and also he encounters someone who's trying to dodge his bill. He says, "Oh, can I put it on the tab?" He said, "No, only for my friends that get tabs." And so he eventually has to pay. Then Eggman comes in because he wants to put up wanted posters because he's like one of the 4 Metrix bosses, like, and that. Vector's not very happy about this because he doesn't want any posters up because it might ruin his business. And so they suggested, oh, where can we put it then? It says, put it under the table. So one of them did, okay, put it on the table. So because
Well, the
apparently...
best part is the robots themselves make that decision. It's not even Vector saying that. So it's the
Oh my
robots sabotaging themselves.
Yeah, I think it's just in the Japanese version.
Okay,
yeah.
but sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, because apparently the Celtics actually have Sonic and friends secretly holed up in the in the office whilst because they've crashed on the planet as well, and then they need supplies. So, but they can't go out and get supplies because Sonic suggested, "Oh, what if I shot really, really fast?" But no, that would not work. So Vector decides to do the shopping for them, and it says, "Oh, how can you pay for it?" He says, "Don't worry, put it on my tab." So, so we see Vector doing the shopping. He sees a part like, "Oh, if he gets this, he'll repair his own office building." But they say, "No, just get the stuff for them." But he did notice that one of them, Meteorix enemies, is spying on them. So, so one of the other guys finds out that Sonic and his friends are actually on that planet, and decided that once they leave, he's going to blast them out of the sky. So then we see Eggman coming in, and so he's like, "Right, could I have some water, please?" And basically says, "Sorry, mate, we're out of water." So, Sonic and his friends are listening in, and so Eggman decides to have a few drinks, and he got a bit drunk, and he kind of blurted out about what the Meteorix are planning, like they know Sonic is there. So as he staggers out, like Sonic tries to get a good look about the window, but they keep coming back and trying to look out the window. So there's something really suspicious about that window up there. Because I just love the one of them keeps coming back and forth trying to stare at the window. So then we see the Blue Typhoon leaving the planet, and it gets completely obliterated. It was like, "Hey, I won! I've killed him!" But of course, we probably know better. Then we see Eggman coming in, looking like he fell down the stairs, and said, "Right, can I have a drink with an egg in it?" So, which is a bit of an odd drink. So, like, he has his drink and all that, and then it turns out that the Blue Typhoon that was wrecked was actually a fake, because it has Eggman's ship inside it, and he took the fall. So the Blue Typhoon left in peace, and Eggman gives a bit of a wink, like that sort of a bit of a grin, bit of a wink, and they kill Tix and go back to tending their bar. The end.
Yeah, so that was our Casablanca episode, apparently.
Oh yeah, because it has like Eggman saying, "Play it again, Vector."
Yeah, in both.
All the bars in all the world, you have to walk into mine.
But
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was surprised that, like, in both versions, they kept that whole "play it again" Vector bit near the end.
It's kind of weird because the American version did kind of ruin the whole Casablanca thing by changing the music, because the Japanese version has a very melancholic music playing while Vector's playing the piano to really fit with that black noir feel to it, while the American version is this very derpy song playing.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like the Japanese version's like regular piano music, but the English dub, it's like weird galactic, like I don't know, HD.
Yeah, weird wacky music. Well,
Yeah,
the
weird like
Japanese version has a
electronic
very
music.
melancholy feel to it. I was kind of surprised to see like intro characters randomly in the background, especially since this planet's not even supposed to have them. Because they go so out of their way to ever show like main character of furries. So kind of weird is them randomly showing up.
Well, hey, at
One
least
thing I
they-
could have mentioned is at the beginning, Vector was like, "Oh, you didn't expect me to play the piano, do you?" And I was like, "No, you usually play the guitar according to your old concept sketches."
Yeah, that was that is an interesting bit. Like in both versions, Vector like breaks the fourth wall. I was like, "Oh, I bet you're wondering how I got here," that kind of thing. But in the Japanese version, he adds in that bit. It's like, "Oh, did you forget that I once was going to be in a band?" So that's an obvious reference to his to the whole scrapped sound test bit from Sonic 1. So yeah, it's a shame they cut that out in the US dub.
I'm kind of shocked they kept it in the Japanese version because it's such obscure information. So they already assume that all Sonic X viewers know all their obscure Sonic facts on the internet. Because I don't think Sonic X itself ever shown him to be interested in music. But, yeah.
And of course, Japan in general aren't really that interested in obscure media, unless it's like Asian culture stuff.
Exactly. So I was kind of shocked they referenced it. Especially Classic Sonic, because Classic Sonic in general is completely ignored by Sonic X for the most part. So them suddenly going back, oh yeah, here we make a reference to the reference art from the very first Sonic game. Like, whoa, okay, that's a deep cut all of a sudden.
Yeah. So yeah, and then other differences. Yeah, like the whole bit with Deco and Boko telling like, hey, and you're like, hey, Eggman, calm it down with the whole speeches. Don't want the Metrics to get onto you. Yeah, that whole scene was like completely removed in the English though, which is weird.
That's a shame because it looks awesome. I love how Eggman looks like. I want this on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little mini bits there, and then of course the obvious difference is how the drinks that the Chaotix serve at their cafe, where in the Japanese version it's beer, but in the U.S. version, like, oh no, it's juice. We're at a juice bar,
He asked for a black vinegar drink.
An egg.
Oh, and in the Japanese version he had raw eggs, and in the American version soft-boiled egg because raw eggs.
Even though he cracks it and it still comes out raw anyway.
Yeah, I guess that's why he mentioned soft egg. Like, oh, that's why it's still liquid, I guess. Oh, well. But yeah, and not to mention the whole conversation, because Dr. Eggman has a conversation with one of the other Metarix leaders about what their goal and motivation is, which I also kind of prefer the American version here. The Japanese version is very vague. It's like, oh, what is your goal? Oh, my goal is different than your goal. So if your goal is a goal, then you do a goal. But then you might have to fight if your goal is a different goal. Like, oh, okay, thanks, Japan, with your stupid Chinese fortune cookie storytelling. Well, the American version, they had more clear from, what's the point of killing everyone? Then you can't rule over everyone. It's like, oh, look, an actual argument. There you go.
Yeah, Robotnik's trying to be suspicious of what are the Metarix's real goals outside of going around stealing planet eggs and all that.
It's a bit of a waste because it's already so confusing that Eggman joined them in the previous episode. It's already kind of catches you off guard. So, oh, he's part of them now. In the very next episode, he's already betraying them. So, well, that was pointless. So you just joined him up for one episode, and I was already like sabotaging from the inside.
Well, then again, Eggman in Sonic X is a character that's constantly contradicting himself. Like the whole deal, like, oh, I want to fight off my enemies, but I don't technically want to kill them off, except for a few exceptions, like those random gun pilots in the ending of season 1.
Yeah, cue Sonic Lost World. I'm a complicated guy, I guess. But yeah, they really don't know what to do with Dr. Eggman. Like, he has to be the villain, but he can't actually do anything villainous, so it's kind of back and forth. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
I'm confused, lol!
I do kind of like it how Dr. Eggman's robots called him off. What you're doing is illegal. It's like, okay. They're ruling the world, dude. They make what's legal or not.
I suppose one funny bit I found a bit funny is when Eggman was talking to one of those Metrix leaders, and he was like, "Hey, remember the time when my minions beat the shit out of you? Ah, good times."
Yeah, that old flashback scene. Yeah, that's only in the Japanese version.
Yeah, and I love the idea of Dr. Eggman having to get used to being a minion. Like, that's a shame they took it out of the American version, because I really love that dynamic. Oh, here's Dr. Eggman, the ultimate narcissistic, self-obsessed leader. Now his own robots have to teach him how to be a minion. So just in that regard, I'm already disappointed he's betraying them, because I would love to see this dynamic further. It's like Dr. Eggman actually having to suck up to them and be all this nice minion to them. That would have been a very interesting twist. But alas, other than this quick joke, I assume we're not going to see much of that. And just seeing the Metarix having this gala party is so weird too, because aren't they all in armor? I mean, I think Luke already said that. Because they're in armor, they don't have mouths, and yet here they are at this gala. It looks so hilarious.
Well, Yellow's a Kovac has the ability to eat curry.
Yeah, he has that like weird hinge jaw thing.
Also, did I notice that they recycle the same animation? Like, he gets his big introduction sequence where he's eating, and then later when you see him at the party, it's the same animation of him eating. Maybe it's the implication he's constantly eating the same thing all
maybe.
the time. But yeah,
I think they even showed...
Yeah, go ahead.
I think they even showed it multiple times in this episode too.
Yeah. He just really loves that curry.
He does.
The entrance is so funny anyway, because instead of just making an announcement, it's like the news. Like, why is this the news? And then they introduce their leaders. Like, shouldn't they already know who their leaders are? Like, I mean, Dr. Eggman is a new one, but why are they reintroducing the other three ones? It's like you get a brand new news. Biden is the American president. It's like, yeah, I already know.
Here's the news. I'm always great.
I guess the Medirex decided to take a page out of Eggman's narcissism in a way for the announcements.
I suppose so, yeah.
Either that or they have goldfish memory.
That would explain how
Just
pathetic they are.
keep reminding him.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm the leader. I mean, it kind of goes without saying they're the only ones with a unique armor, but oh well. Cartoon logic, eh?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's kind of interesting. The whole sequence of Dr. Eggman and Matrix is already so fascinating to talk about, but it doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the episode. It's just a quick little prologue. But yeah, the episode itself. So apparently Vector and the Chaotix are suddenly the owners of a cafe, I guess just to do a Casablanca parody. Because they crash land on the planet.
Well, the whole backstory to that is that after leaving Chris and Cosmo for a while, I guess they ended up getting lost, and they crashed their ship onto a planet, so now they decided to turn their detective agency into a cafe, at least until they can raise enough money to get all the parts they need to fix up the ship and hightail it out of there.
So they can't buy parts to fix their ship, but they can buy an enormous amount of liquor they can sell. Because you need capital to get your stuff to sell first, too. So.
Also, they're going to be losing a lot of money because they just put everything on their tab.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
maybe. Well, maybe with the drinks, maybe they just make their own liquor and not buy it.
Like moonshine.
As for the parts, Sonic and his friends actually paid for them themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
but,
so getting the
I
parts
mean, their own parts of their spaceship, not Sonic's parts. Oh, yeah, but I love the joke at first where they kind of say, oh, Sonic, you can't escape because the soldiers are looking for you, probably because they're still doing the Casablanca thing. But it just hard cuts to him just running past the soldiers and the soldiers not able to do anything about it. Just like, should we chase him? I don't know. That made me laugh. But it was kind of confusing because they do the joke a second time, like, oh, you can't shop. Like, oh, yes, I can. And it just cuts to him just stealing all the stuff. And again, the cashier can't do anything about it. But then after that, it's like, yeah, I can do it. It's like, what? Wait, you can do it. You just showed it in the little cutaway joke.
Well, I think what they meant was that he can't, actually go out and pay for it because he's, trying to avoid the guard, so he's too fast for the cashier to see, who's paying for it and whatnot.
It doesn't matter as long as he leaves money on the counter, then it doesn't matter who buys it.
Well, yeah, and yet we don't see Sonic putting money on the counter, so...
That's true, so he just stole it, but then again, it's just a non-existent cutaway joke anyway. And the whole sequence doesn't matter anyway, because Vector's immediately spotted, and the soldiers come after him anyway, so it might as well have been Sonic. But then again, it's the Chaotix episode, I guess they have to do it. But then they introduce a subplot that never goes anywhere, because they do show Vector being tempted to just use Sonic's money to buy his own stuff, but it never really goes anywhere. I assume that's just to make it more of a Casablanca reference. Like, oh, the hero in that movie was also kind of, like unclear if he's going to stay selfish or actually be the good guy. So I guess they play with that, but feels kind of random. Oh, well.
Yeah, maybe.
It was a funny
But
episode anyway. I kind of like the little illustration of Vector also doing other jobs instead of just being a detective. Like, also walk with a dog,
Yeah.
do your groceries.
Yeah. And then the whole shopping scene, surprisingly, there's actually a bit that's actually fixed in the English dub, where Vector's holding up a list of the parts that Sonic and his friends need. For some reason, it's completely blank in the Japanese version.
Oh, yeah!
But in the English dub, they wrote down scribbles, okay, this is the item, this and that. So it's weird that it only exists in the English dub. Usually it's the other way around.
Exactly. Even I was wondering, it's what are you seeing on that piece of paper, Vector, that we can't see?
It's all written in invisible ink.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or maybe it's just ink that only animals can read.
I can imagine Vector's oh, I have to get them nothing. Okay.
Oh, that was easy.
Yeah, they gave him a list of things they needed, but they forgot what to write down.
Job well done!
Yeah.
I also like the scene involving the window where Sonic tries to look out, but they keep going back in the same place and looking in. It's like, what's is something? There's someone in there.
Yes, yeah. I think that bit runs a little longer in the Japanese version, where it's like, oh, it's
Oh,
Eggman,
way
and then it's
longer,
yeah, it's like Eggman, and then it's Boko, and then it's Eggman again. It's just constant back and forth.
Yeah.
Another instance of 4Kids actually adding text is when the Chaotix Cafe is closed, the sign in Japanese says "close," but in English they changed it to "closed."
Yeah. Correct grammar. Also, I kind of wonder how Eggman got the illustration for his wanted poster. I can't remember all the main characters posed for a picture, let alone for Eggman.
Yeah.
Maybe he drew it himself. He has like an artist robot working for him.
Yeah.
Must have.
Or we just found it on Google Images.
Yeah.
Why not?
Or maybe he just basically just found like individual pictures and just cut them up and just stuck them all together.
But hey, he did
Or
a better
maybe-
job than Chris did. So, Chris.
Or maybe he has his own
Well, yeah.
AI art program.
Oh, God.
Ooh, he was ahead of his time, and he's the bad guy, so why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did leave. Yeah, was making a little something in Photoshop, so I just left it on the general chat. Just based on what Luke was saying about the photo of Chris.
Oh yeah, it's just taped over Tails.
Would have been funny if the wanted post was just Sonic and Friends, and there's like a second poster but just Chris, but not wanted on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know,
it's
it's
like. Oh, go
I think
ahead.
it would be like wanted alive, dead or alive, but for Chris it's like wanted dead, like really, really dead.
Wanted -50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reward for killing Sonic and his friends, like 10,000 gold coins. Killing Chris, 2.
No,
Ah, poor Chris. He wasn't even that
no,
bad in this
it would
episode.
be 2 billion for Chris because
Yeah.
they'd be doing the whole universe a favor.
Yeah.
How heroic.
And speaking of heroic, I really liked Eggman in this episode.
Yeah.
He's kind of interesting.
I always love Eggman doing good stuff.
Yeah,
It's a
although
very
it does kind of
interesting
raise the question, like, the whole deal with the decoy, tricking the Metarix and whatnot, it's like, okay, how the hell did he get the parts to make a duplicate of the Blue Typhoon? Does he just secretly have, like, a 3D printer somewhere in his ship?
I guess.
Must have.
I mean, where does he get the materials to build his robots?
Ah, yeah. That weird slot machine thing, probably.
From Mediotech.
Possibly. I also noticed in the difference between Japanese and American that in the Japanese version it was more of an actual booby trap the Matrix had because they were hiding behind the moon. But the 4Kids version never brought that up. They just said, oh, they're just in space. So in that case, they should have immediately seen them anyway. So I thought it interesting because 4Kids kind of very simplifying the story. They also made it much more obvious that Eggman was deliberately lying, warning them to say the truth. Although the Japanese version kept it more ambiguous.
Alright.
Kind of interesting. When he's pretending he's drunk or already saying, "Oh, I have defeated Sonic. I'm so great."
Yeah, now that would be weird. They kept the whole drunk bit. It's like, oh yeah, I'm drunk on juice. Yeah, non-alcoholic juice.
Lamented juice.
Yeah, lamenting juice.
There you go. But yeah, always interesting to see the characters in the different dynamics. It was a very fun episode. I liked it. Might have been just a Casablanca reference, but still, it puts the characters in an interesting situation. You know, it was kind of random that Sonic and Friends just happened to be in the Chaotix basement, or, well, the attic, without any warning.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, I didn't know they were there. But, oh well. It was a fun episode concept.
Yeah.
But well, typical,
Yeah.
because in the last episode, I thought to myself, I'm so glad they finally don't break the fourth wall anymore, because this episode is so serious, it wouldn't work here. And then you go to this episode, and immediately they break the fourth wall again. Or immediately be super silly, like, oh, we can't go here in space because this is expressway, so we have to pay the toll. It's like, in space? Like, okay. We go for the most dramatic episode, straight back to stupid cartoon logic. Okay.
Yeah, well, whenever the chaotic show up, there's always going to be some fourth wall jokes, since that's kind of their thing in the show.
I guess so. Yeah. Anything else? Of course, the bad guy who's particularly skilled in planning is playing chess. So I have to get that cliche out of the way.
Yeah.
But there was a bit that was also a little bit funny about Sonic suggesting the idea that he could do the shopping really fast, and then he cuts to the cashier seeing a blue blur going by really, really fast. Like, oi, mate! Mate.
Yeah.
It's a massive difference from Sonic the Movie 2, where like he uses the rings to like buy and pay for for his things.
Not here. He straight up steals it. And then again, it's just an imagination. Right, so.
It's like, hey, Blue Blow, what? I keep seeing this Blue Blow, and where's my wallet gone? Hey, where's my underpants?
No, where are my pants?
Sonic
The shop's gone!
Sonic could be a very good villain, yeah.
Sonic the shoplifter.
Shoplifting since 1991.
There you go.
Sonic could be a pretty good villain. I bet that, like, no one has a copyright on an evil version of Sonic.
Don't do it. Ken Penders is coming after you, buddy. Keep quiet.
Oh yeah, with Scourge, or a more recent one, the or the new guy from Sonic Prime. That we can't get into much because that'd be too much spoilers.
Ah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess one day we'll go back to that when we finish with Fleetway, which we still have 200 issues to go or something.
Well, I'd say like 120 or so, because after that, then the series just goes into being nothing but reprints.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So it's not...
Yeah.
Oh, we do
Not counting the unofficial online continuation.
Oh yeah, with the exception of not counting the Sonic the Comic Online. Yeah.
Not sure if we go there. Might do.
Yeah, Roger's too terrified to touch stuff like that.
Yeah, there's still plenty of other Sonic literature stuff to get into.
So
Like
much.
Archie. And it's over 300 issues of comics. That Melting Man bathes in.
Oh yeah, the Archie Sonic stuff. Or we could just do something simple and do the Sonic X comics. That only lasted 40 issues,
40.
although... Yeah, 40 issues, although technically we'd be covering 39 because we already covered the Christmas one a couple years back.
All right, yeah.
But it'd be more of a quick recap, at the least.
Yeah, quick recap.
Alrighty. So, I guess we should move on to Fleetway, or does anyone else have something to say about the egg yolk and egg whites drink Eggman consumed in this episode?
Yeah, whether it's mixed in beer or juice, it's still a weird-looking drink.
Exactly.
It was never beer. In the Japanese version, it was black vinegar, and in the English
Yeah.
version, it was prune juice.
Ah,
Either way, it looks
He
disgusting.
finishes drinking and says, right, I need to use the toilet now.
he's got a serious case of number 2.
Yeah, because usually they put the raw egg in cooked rice, which I figured that would still kind of cook the egg further along. But in a drink, that wouldn't work. Oh well, I don't get it. Maybe it's delicious, who knows? I never tried it. But yeah, Fleetway, I guess. We're going to do it a little bit differently this time. Instead of going issue for issue, we're just going through the stories as a whole. Because I noticed in last streams it was always kind of awkward, because then we have to talk about part 4 or 5, and we're just like, oh yeah, the big talk, and they fight, and I don't know.
So might as well just see how this turns out.
Yes, let's just try it story by story. So it might be a little more confusing for you guys. I don't know. But,
Yeah.
Now you have to
wait and see.
flip around 3 issues at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh well. So, shall we try with The Return of the Chaotix, part 1, 2, and 3?
Can do.
Alright.
Alrighty. Ewan, you want to do a synopsis?
Might as well, since everyone else has, well, except for you, has said something about the Sonic X stuff, so
Fair
I might
enough.
as well give this a go.
Okay, go ahead.
So Sonic is apparently over at the Never Lake, where Miracle Planet, or as we know it as Little Planet, has returned, as it keeps popping up every month. But it's never stated for how long, though. because it's always all over the place. Like it says, 1 minute it's like, oh, it only appears for a month and it vanishes for a year, but now it's like every monthly and it just vanishes. But anyway, the planet was returned, and Sonic climbs along the chain to see if he can find Porker, and sure enough, he finds Porker just literally just walking down, and he was kind of noticing something a little bit off from Porker, because he just keeps on responding in like a lot of, well, as you can see, I'm fine. But it's obviously not ringing too much bells with him at the moment, because he's been stuck up there for a month, so he might just assume like he's just been talking to himself and he's gained new vocal patterns and such. But anyway, back on Mobius, the Omniviewer just spits out the Chaotix for a bumpy landing, where they're basically greeted by some of Robotnik's troopers, 2 standard ones and 2 experimental special Badnik service robots, and the Chaos engage them, but of course Mighty gets bonked with a lot of concrete balls, which is kind of an odd choice, but fair enough.
Yeah, they really piled on Mighty this time. He's constantly the guy getting hurt.
Yeah. Espio then shows off his spinning top attack and basically obliterates the one of the special units in one hit. And Mighty decides to take his vengeance out on the other one, whilst Vector is basically chowing down on his arm.
Looks really epic.
Yeah, it's like, I'm like, help me out here, Mighty's like, don't eat with your mouth full, Vector. And just as like, and of course the 2 others like decide, I think there's a good time to run away. But Sonic basically like stops them in his track by literally just running straight through them. And of course he greets himself to the Chaotix, but questions why they have arrived on Mobius, with Vector saying that the Brotherhood of Metallics are up to something sinister on Miracle Planet, but Sonic says, there's nothing to worry about, they've all been beaten, but Omniviewer says otherwise, with saying there's an energy screen covering the planet, and when he blasts some energy on it, it reveals like Miracle Planet has turned into like an ego planet for the Metallics.
Yeah, I guess they got Robotnik's ego along with everything else.
But yeah, with Sonic was like asked Porker like, how come you never told me about that? And he's like, I don't know. So Sonic decides like, right, I'm gonna go on there and basically take on those Metallics before they decide to do anything else. And of course says, well, are you guys coming along or what? And whilst they're going along the chain, Sonic notices that Porker's been holding his arm, and like assumes he's hurt. And when he checks his arm, he realizes like it's not like flesh and blood, but metallic. And it's revealed like Porker Lewis is actually a Metallics in disguise. Basically the equivalent of a Transformers Pretender, to say the least. He engages Sonic by knocking him off, who's fortunately saved by Charmy, despite him like, I don't know, maybe I should have fallen to my death rather than hear him chatter.
Ouch.
Yeah. And of course, Mighty engages the Metallics, but gets like a surprise, like spring-loaded headbutt action. And SBO tries to kick the Metallics in the head, but apparently to no avail, and basically just gets chucked into the others. And just as he's powering up his Death Ray, Sonic bashes the Metallic, which damages his Death Ray, causing it to have a power overload. So Vector and Mighty utilize their link rings. Remember those from Chaotix 1995, people? Which basically Vector just gets swung into the Metallics, knocking him far away as it goes kaboom!
I wish they did that in the
of course,
game. But...
yeah. Definitely, especially considering the lack of enemies in that game.
Yeah. Just kill the boss in one hit with that move. Like the game isn't easy enough.
Yeah.
But never mind. Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah. Of course, they feel a bit put off by the fact like it took all their effort just to destroy one of them, but Sonic's like, why, are you scared? It's like, do you know, I prefer Knuckles compared to you.
Ouch.
And of course they arrive on Miracle Planet. And of course they just like look around, but like they can't find anyone. But at that moment, like Sonic hears a familiar voice, being Porker Lewis, who's been tied up with wires to a random metal pole, It's like, we gotta hurry, Sonic, before the Metallics return. But it's like too late, as apparently the Metallics just popped up with
Poor
the Emperor
Porker,
and
he
a
must have been
squad
there
from.
for a month. News.
Yeah, I'll talk about it later on about that part. But
Sorry.
yeah, the Emperor Metallics pops up with a squad of regular Metallics from the pirated copy of Omniviewer, indicating like they've already won. And Sonic questions, okay, how have you won? And it's like, well, have you looked at Mobius? It's been turned into like a giant factory. And it's like, exactly. Dun dun dun. And of course, quickly going to issue
69, dudes!
for part 3, the
Metallics.
Yeah, I think I've had less than 6 hours worth of sleep, so I'm a bit derped.
Sorry.
But Sonic kind of realizing, like, in shock of like what's happened, he's like he's gonna like take on all the Metallics despite the fact, you know, he's got no way of winning. So Vector just grabs them, just chucks in Omniviewer with the Metallic. One of the Metallics is saying, "Emperor, shall we pursue the targets?" Like, that's not needed. There's nowhere for them to run. And they arrive on planet Mobius just to see if they can find any survivors, but in that one big giant panel page, it just pretty much shows like there's no organic life on the planet except for themselves. But then then they suddenly get spotted by a squad of Metallicses of varying like designs, with Sonic being like super mad, like, "What have you done to our planet? I'll tear you limb from limb." It's like, well, make sure you actually get an answer from them first before you tear them limb from limb. Otherwise, it's just going to be a whole case of shoot first, shoot second, and then when everyone's dead, ask a question.
To be fair to the
type
robots, I guess it can still talk even when they're just decapitated.
Yeah. But realizing they're still outnumbered, they all make a break for it, where they end up in a dead-end alleyway. But they are fortunately saved with the assistance of someone who's hiding in the sewer, saying like, "Quickly, follow me." It's like, and while Sonic still prefers to fight, he's got no other choice. And as they're going down, some other guy is basically filming them. And when the Metallics enter, they just see all of them just standing there, like, ready to be like destroyed. But one of them, Metallics, just realizes there's a device on the ceiling that's about to overload, and he orders immediate evacuation. But they all go kaboom. And then Sonic questions like, "What was all that about?" And it was like, "Oh, that was a hologram, and also we left a bomb there." It's like, but Sonic's like, "Never mind that. Who are you people anyway?" "Well, surely you must recognize me, Sonic. It's me, Dr. Ovi Kintobor."
Dun dun dun.
Exactly. And the cool Shades Bear.
Cool Shades Bear. All right. Maybe it's Worker. Worker's twin brother. Oh, so
Yeah,
a joke
Worker
for
in the
a
90s.
story you wouldn't work on. But yeah, that's our thrilling, exciting first comic book adventure from Fleetway.
Yes.
Versus the Metallics. Man, they were quick in taking over Mobius. I really love this whole adventure mostly taking place on the chain. I always thought that the chain would be a great set piece for action. That's why I kind of made a whole scene about it in Sonic Mania in minutes. It's a bit of a shame that games never really did anything with that. But hey, at least we got this comic with a big fight with very creepy, scary looking Porker Lewis robot on the chain. Pretty epic set piece. And he looked creepy.
Oh, yeah.
It was I was kind of shocked when I saw that Porker robot all of a sudden. Fleetway really loves making creepy enemies, don't they?
Yeah. All being sinister and such, and how gradually he starts to lose all of his.
I just want to point out this is kind of sorry. I just want to point out this is kind of like the Fleetway version of that Archie comic with the evil pig character that is actually a minion of Robotnik. So
yeah, from the original miniseries, yeah.
So you can say like Eggman has a thing for like evil robot pigs.
Yeah, and the Game Gear game was also this pig that shot balls at you, I think.
Oh yeah, and then of course Sonic Boom. We can't forget the whole evil ham bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, who knew Eggman had a thing for pigs in every Sonic universe?
Also, sorry to go back to Sonic X for a moment, but Ewan made this wonderful picture of Chris Thorndike and his best friends. Totally real picture.
He swears by it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always looked. I've always had that yellow fur and two tails.
But right, back to Fleetway.
And I'm not crying. I'm just happy to be with Sonic, my best friend in all the world.
Yeah, it almost kind of looks like Shadow's like stabbing him in the back there with how his arm is raised.
About to punch him. He does look
Such a
happy now.
backstabber.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it's like, does make me wonder how long Porker's obviously been tied up though, because especially with that one wire that's literally around his neck, so he obviously can't just like attempt to bend his neck all the way down and like try and gnaw away at metal pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't immediately run to the toilet as soon as he gets released. I needed to go for 5 days. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Metallix, I need to go to the toilet.
There are
Okay,
no
we'll take you to the
toilets.
toilet.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, there are no toilets here. Not anymore. Ha ha ha.
Either that or he has to use that drain that's literally just next to Sonic.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that's what sewers are for.
Yeah.
Gotta go somewhere.
Indeed.
Cut the middleman. The middleman is your toilet.
There you go.
It's directly in the sewer.
Efficient. That's what Metallix is all about, being efficient.
Yeah, I just want to point out, I really like the visuals of this story, especially with Robot Porker turning into like the Terminator, and when Sonic and the Celtics ended up on Mobius, and everything looks like a very horrible looking, a dark future with all these metal, everything turned to metal.
Yep,
Yeah.
artwork is absolutely awesome, as usual.
The one thing that I always keep noticing, even at a young age, was how one of the pipes apparently has a grenade on it.
Huh? I didn't notice that.
Well, that
Right, I
that
see.
whole
Yeah.
lot, yeah, that whole big panel page. It's just like, why is that pipe made out of a grenade?
Well, Metallix
Even
is
that-
efficient, so I guess it's just gonna drop the pipe on an enemy and just kaboom.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
Well,
the
okay,
factory.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's the factory where they make all the grenades.
Either that, or if anyone attempts to, destroy that section of pipe, they just get blown up.
Yeah, maybe that's like the source of the whole, like, how there's like random self-destruct buttons, like, yeah, there's the thing that sets off the whole thing.
Indeed, if
Oh,
there's a
the-
video game, that's where you would point your gun. Sorry, Luke, go ahead.
So
no, that was-
like, there's places there on fire, so don't seem to care much about safety regulations.
Well, he only cares about Metallix safety regulations, and I guess he doesn't...
Yeah, no, there's fire there. Don't worry about it.
Just as long as animals and squishy organic beings die, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Makes sense to
What?
me.
So you're assuming like all of the organic fleshy humans will get thrown into the fire.
Yes. Nice
Look at the
burn.
big
It has-
panel. I'm sorry, just look at the big panel. It does look like something out of a German expressionist film.
Yeah, I love how the perspective is all over the place. It really makes it awesome. It really makes it like an awesome video game level, the whole abstraction.
Yeah.
It's like this
Yeah,
maddening,
something-
giant, wasteful like landscape that only exists for torture and death.
Yeah.
It's pretty much why I liked the Dark Future stages in Sonic CD, where it's all black and you get this epic metal music playing, depending on the version you're playing.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, that's why they are on Miracle Planet, so very appropriate. Indeed. Kudos to the
Yeah, all
artist. Go at you, and yeah.
Nah, I was just thinking about the whole sort of like, still thinking about when like if Mobians were all thrown into like the fire pit. I'm just for some reason remembering the old sort of like scary story audio of when Thomas and Alfred saw this, they said, "Let's throw him in the fire."
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, cows piss us off. Let's throw them in the fire.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, that specifically was from a weird random audio mix series called Tom's Terrifying Tales from the Toaster. Good stats.
And yeah, like Blaze Rona says in the comments, I also love how the Chaotix is kind of dropped into destroy like that. Like, okay, here you are, splat. Go do something.
Yeah. Got to have more of them involved with the Metallixes to keep in consistent with the Knuckles game, even though Knuckles isn't in this story.
Nope. He's mentioned,
But
I
yeah.
guess. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And also, like, kind of funny of how, like, even the robots were just dropped in there. Just like they just happened to just miraculously turn up at the same time they did. It's like,
Just for a
oh
quick
look,
action
moving
scene.
targets. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that
And of course-
visual effect of just chomping on the robot, just biting it.
Yeah. Even the robots looking at him like, oi.
Yeah. Get off me. Yeah.
Well, that's
I
a
really
great-
liked the robot in issue 67. It was like this giant SWAT bot on treadmills with rocket.
Yeah.
With he looked really cool.
That's what I love about
Yeah.
this art style. It's simultaneously comical and super serious at the same time, and it really works. Like it works both as a comedic thing and as something that's legitimately actually awesome. It's like a nice balance you strike here.
Well, I do kind of question the choice of firing concrete balls. As opposed for anyone else, it would literally be a lethal, like, combination. But for Sonic heroes like that, like, it just bounces right off them.
Yeah. And they've got balls of steel, and they've got bodies of steel.
Balls of concrete in this case.
Well, they're like the same kind of balls to get a fun fair. You have to throw out the coconuts.
Coconut!
Okay, so they're not firing concrete balls, they're firing coconuts.
That'll be funny if
Flying coconuts!
to snap open and then can immediately like drink some coconut milk to recover again.
Do it.
Exactly. Do it. Use coconut cannons.
So, a couple of interesting details about Mighty is one, they confirmed that Mighty is stronger than Vector, so that's interesting.
Uh-huh.
Also, I like that he closes his eyes whenever he does an attack. It's an interesting detail.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Out of intensity or worried about shrapnel flying around? Who knows?
Perhaps both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my two thoughts as well.
Maybe it's just an artist thing. Do the other characters keep their eyes open? I'm gonna take a look.
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, Espio
I
kicks with his eyes open, so I guess it's just a Mighty thing then.
Yeah, maybe he once smashed something so hard he got something in his eye and he couldn't get it out for days.
Yeah.
So now he's like, right, go remember to close my eyes. Which could result in him missing. So he ends up, rather than punching like the robot, he just punches like Espio in the face.
That'll be amusing. Poor SPO. But yeah, that was this story, I guess. Anyone else has something to say?
Funny panel in, I think, issue 67, where Vector had his tongue hanging out.
Yeah, that was a funny, weird detail, yeah.
And it's green.
A green
Yeah.
tongue, indeed. I guess it's out of exhaustion, but it also kind of looks like he's like obsessed with the ring. Oh, yeah, grab the double ring. I want the ring. My precious.
My precious. Yeah, show off that ring, baby.
I also
Yeah.
love the chain hanging in midair before the island shows up again.
Yeah, I
it's
do
always
kind of find that a
awkward.
bit weird, especially with how it's designed, like going upward. I'm like, well, at least I'm glad that the rock structure is still shaped like Robotnik's face and not something else.
Yeah,
It's a glitch in the Matrix.
indeed. Oh
It's
well.
only until when you whack the chain when it falls to the ground.
I mean, it is the Sonic games that don't have gravity. I mean, you see so many platforms floating in midair, I guess. Why not a chain?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Video game logic.
yeah, no. Or as the scout from Team Fortress 2 says, gravity? Who cares about gravity?
Yeah,
Exactly.
screw gravity.
Oh, do you know the history of that line?
No.
So Nathan Verline, the voice of the Scout, I used to be a mod for him on Twitch. Whenever he got into whenever he would do the Scout voice, to get into character, he would quote a scene from Die Hard, and which included the scene, "Glass. Who gives a shit about glass?" So, because that's what he did every time to get into character, they made a reference to it in Team Fortress 2.
Okay.
And we learn something new every day.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that he's done a little bit of improv with doing voice lines for the Scout.
Yeah. He doesn't anymore, though. He stopped streaming, unfortunately.
Aw. Yeah, he seems
But,
to have gone, yeah, he's gone MIA for quite some time now. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do still have him as a friend on Steam, and I see him playing Path of Exile every now and then, so he's alright.
Alright, that's good.
Or someone stole his Steam account.
And his taste in games.
Yeah, that is kind of the weird thing. Like, he was like one of the few active voice actors from Team Fortress 2 doing stuff related to the game. And then when they decided to have like the rest of the gang be active, then he started going MIA.
Yeah.
My work here is done. Back to my home planet.
Oh well, at least we got the epic sandwich saga with Heavy and the gang trying to find the medic and the sandwich. That was great.
There you go.
Let us find sandwich.
We're having way too much fun with this.
Exactly.
What have I done?
You monster.
You've opened the Pandora's box you can't close anymore.
Oh well. So, shall we move to the next story?
Yeah, Knuckles, right?
Knuckles and Zacharinius, or whatever you call his name.
Zacharinius.
Zachary. I think it's Zachary.
Zachary. Well, I guess it's my
Zachary.
turn
Oh,
for
we-
a synopsis. What was that, Salah?
Yeah, were you trying to combine the names Zachary and Finetivis? That's his name?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
I mean, they're
Finnegan.
almost the same character, I guess.
Yeah.
Or not, I haven't read Archie, so I'm sure Melty will yell at me now.
Yeah, but this is a bit of a different character, and I think in terms of which came first, I'm pretty sure Zachary came first. Because Finnegan wouldn't be established until much, much later.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Anyway, yeah, so since last time, Knuckles befriended another echidna, Zachary, or Zacharinius, I'm gonna call him, because that's more fun.
Let's call him Bob.
Sure, why not? He befriended Bob, so they're walking around the floating island. Well, oh no, the emeralds are being under attack again, and the Master Emerald is in big trouble, so he starts, there's suddenly a random robot attacking them, so Knuckles starts fighting them, but he gets defeated. And then we learned it was an evil plot from Bob all along. He was not a nice echidna. He was an evil echidna, and he assumed Knuckles would be too nice. He wouldn't. He would be gullible because it's the only echidna. And I guess Knuckles very racist, positively racist towards other echidnas. They can always be good guys. And the robot is apparently like an armor for Zacharinius, for Bob. So now he can fly around, and Knuckles is very angry. So Knuckles sits in a zoom tube, waiting for Zacharinius to, because apparently he's just randomly flying in circles, waiting for him to come by a zoom tube, so he can smash off his wings. And Zacharinius is very angry because now he can't fly anymore. So no more whee for him. So now he's gonna kill Knuckles in return. There you go. That's just how you make when you fly around an island. But of course, in this universe, floating island is actually like an airplane or something, because you can actually control and fly it, and it's about to crash into a mountain, Indiana Jones style. And Knuckles and Bob can't do anything but watch helplessly. I love how they quickly cut to the regular Mobius people still living in their village peacefully, right before their horrific doom. So, boom! The island crashes, smashing right into the mountain. But they randomly survive. Lucky for them, the island gets stuck in the top. But not for long, because the Gale's Emerald's power is wearing off, and I guess they fall even though they're stuck in the mountain. I'm not sure how that works. But whatever. Bob is pissed off and wants to kill Knuckles, even though they think they're already going to fall off and die anyway. But he wants to make him die faster. Then Knuckles is 5 seconds dead before he otherwise would fall with the island. So they have a big final battle. But Knuckles just punches the robots into pieces, and then Knuckles has to decide if he's going to kill Bob or not, but that decision comes for him as Bob randomly falls off a cliff. As things will be.
Not Bob!
No! And then Knuckles looks at the robot and thinks, the robot will probably work as a Master Emerald's replacement, so the robot replaces the Master Emerald, and they fly again. The end. Yay!
That seems like something out of your parody.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, this is the new Master Emerald now.
Exactly, yes. Kind of random. But isn't it the second time now the villain just randomly dies because suddenly the rocks from beneath him crash? It's kind of a bit of a Deus Ex Machina kind of thing. It's like, villain needs to die.
Usual common sort of trope.
I guess so. Yeah,
You know, if like,
yeah.
You know, if like, if the villain, if you're not going to kill the villain, then they'll just die by other means.
And
Whether
then God
falling
himself
off a
comes
cliff.
down and just blasts them. Like, you got hit by random lightning.
Yeah.
And the ground just randomly collapses, whatever.
Or choked to death from a random bird flying into his mouth as he
Just randomly
screeches.
gets a heart attack. Really turns to a multiplying
Yeah,
speech now.
like the animator.
When suddenly the artist had a severe heart attack, and Zachary was no more.
Only the special guest
peasants
artist only
rejoice.
drew him.
So I just want to say the artwork is pretty good. I just love the panel of the idol just smashing right into the mountain.
That's a pretty epic
Yeah.
shot, yeah.
Yeah. And of course all penciled, inked and coloured in by one person in the span of 2 weeks.
Yeah, think about that. That's a lot of work. Whew.
Yeah, it makes anyone sweat.
Yeah.
Crunch time, I guess. Jeez. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's the comic industry. Always crunch time.
Hooray. Yeah, it's really complicated colors, too. It's not flat colors. It's all like hand-painted and all that. Very impressive stuff.
Can't tell if it's water paint or something.
Yeah, probably.
I have to double check on the one panel I've got from him.
Good stuff. Yeah, and then artwork on Knuckles all over the place. Some panels I really love how he looks. Other panels it looks really awkward. Then again, I'm in no position to complain because I always draw him terrible. I'm not good at drawing Knuckles. Poor Knuckles.
Yeah.
I often cheat and just trace him from something else.
Although when you're saying about the whole sort of like how the Zachary just spending like ages just flying around the island going wee, I'm just imagining if that's how all the robots in your version in a potential future Sonic Weather Blast 2 will sound if they're just like flying all over the place. They'll all be going
Yeah.
which is like, something that looks terrifying but yet it doesn't sound terrifying.
That'll be perfect, yes.
Or unless it becomes terrifying, it's like, hear that? That's the sound of death coming towards you.
Every single time you hear that sound, whee, you know something horrible is coming. It's like the most deadly enemy of all.
Yeah, so anytime anyone else just goes, wee, you just be like, shitting your pants, scared.
It just flies over you, carpet bombing the entire level. And I know, I just draw a happy, smiling Zaccharinus inside of the cockpit. With a big, goofy smile.
Yeah. I'm going to kill you.
Exactly. I'm going to do what Penders is not going to do for many years to come.
Finish a comic book?
Pretty much.
Oh yeah. Not finish that stupid Laura Sue Chronicles thing. Constantly boasting about it's like, oh, it's gonna be super fantastic. It's like, no, it's just currently sharing a room with Half-Life 3 and Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hey Penders, where's your new comic?
Yeah, and I'm busy right now. I'm too busy making these NFTs.
Accidentally
Ooh.
fed it to the ducks. Heard that feeding them bread is
Exactly.
deadly, so I'm feeding them comic books instead.
Penders' comics are even more toxic than bread. Hey!
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Poor
Swamp.
Penders, if only you didn't ruin Sonic Chronicles. That would be nice, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. Although surprisingly recently, one of the guys that worked on Sonic Chronicles actually revealed quite a bit of what was planned for the sequel and the supposed series that they were trying to go for before the whole lawsuit kicked in.
Yeah, I saw the video from Did You Know
Alright.
Gaming. Check it out, I guess. No, check out
Yeah,
my
very
videos.
interesting.
Even though I never talk about it. But yeah, back to this comic.
Here and now.
Yeah, anyone else has something to say about it? How awesome the exploding mountain looks.
It's cool. The the island crashing into the mountain and all that.
And we didn't mention this awesome panel of all the poor civilians just being knocked around while their whole village just tumbling down. We never even see their fate because this guy looks like he's about to be crushed by his own home. I guess we assume that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and one
Knowing how
point to, like,
dark
an
Fleetway can be, they probably did die there.
yeah, or maybe he's just like still under there, but he's like, no, I'm not dead yet.
Knuckles, come and help me.
I do like the look of the robot when he had his wings out. It made me think of Songbird from Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah, kind of. Although a lot more chibi, I guess. Because Soulbird was more like a full-blown bird. And there's more like a guy with long wings. But yeah, I kind of see what you mean, yeah. Alright, shall we move to the next story?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's mainly just a continuation of this story.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, there's not really much to say about it. It's just the beginning. But yeah, anyone wants to talk about Knuckles and the orange mountain climbing?
Yeah.
Sure.
Knuckles. Sorry, who's doing it?
You.
You.
It would be Knuckles the Graveyard.
He's no longer an echidna, he's a graveyard now.
Knuckles the Graveyard. Yeah, so basically we get an epic shot of like Knuckles in a wanderer through the desert, looking for on a part of the island that he's never visited because it's where it's full of restless spirits and ghosts, which is known as the ancient Kohenyu Graveyard, with bones of ancient Triceratops-looking creatures. So Knuckles puts on his protective mask trying to climb down the mountain, which wasn't very effective, so he just slips off and crashes into all the bones. And then as he gains consciousness, he finds that he lost his gas mask, and he comes across these plants known as a poison drylid, which sprays some spores on him. But it does something to him because he started hearing voices from a godlike figure saying, "You killed us!" And Knuckles says, "No, I didn't kill you all." And then you got this ghostly giant Triceratops head and saying, like, "You're a murderer here. What are you doing here?" And of course, Knuckles saying, I'm not a murderer. What do you want? This giant Triceratops ghost head, which speaks for the Kohenyu, is the spirit of the herd. And Knuckles is here because he's trying to find a new Master Emerald because the old one was destroyed. But the big giant head is like, "I ain't buying it, mate." So, like, because he's still flying weird. But of course, the big giant head still thinks he's like a murderer because apparently all the echidnas destroyed all his kind. Says, "No, I'm going to raise the dead." And so Knuckles is surrounded by undead Triceratops creatures. To be continued.
I wonder if the comic artist just recently watched Lion King with the whole elephant graveyard and now Mufasa as the enemy. Angry, yes, vengeful Mufasa.
Yeah.
You've disturbed the circle of life. You must die now.
Yeah.
You must
I mean,
die.
Yeah.
I mean, just looking at the like how they're all starting to
Well,
rise
the
up
big
and
giant
rise.
head makes me think of the Wizard of Oz.
Hell yeah.
I am the greatest
Tiny
powerful Oz.
Triceratops hiding behind a curtain somewhere.
Pay no attention to the dinosaur behind the curtain.
But yes, seeing how all the the Styragosaurus, as I think they're called, basically start to rise up, and my response is, where are the Power Rangers when you need them? Because I'm referencing to the 95 movie where they had to face up against a dinosaur-looking skeleton.
Oh yeah, that was pretty awesome. And they themselves represent the dinosaurs. Who was the Triceratops again, Billy?
Yeah.
Hooray! I remember my Power Rangers.
Round of applause.
I was a good kid, I guess, or a bad kid because I was watching too much Power Rangers.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's kind of weird. The Triceratops looks like he's made out of moss or some sort of plants. I guess it's not intended to be, but that's kind of what I thought at first.
Yeah.
But yeah, so an whole adventure about Knuckles being doused in drugs and now hallucinating. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
The Triceratops spirit is just allergic to echidnas and is breaking out into hives.
Yeah, not much to say. So I guess
Yeah.
next stream we'll talk about. Oh, you want to say something? Ewan?
Yeah, a bit. Nah, I suppose I'll bring it up like next time when we do continue with this story, because it's only part 1. There's like 3 other parts to go through.
But man, whenever
So-
I see the first panels, I'm thinking of the opening of Mega Man 2 with a cool music playing. Pointless reference. Anyway, I guess we move on to the next story. One shot star.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're still going. We're
No,
going to
no,
Cybernick.
no, the Cybernick.
Yeah, gotta get back.
Cybernick strikes back.
Finish
to
off the
conclusion.
Cybernick story. Exactly.
So, anyone wants to do a synopsis of the thrilling conclusion of Cybernick and Techno versus Robotnik?
I'll give it a go. So just a quick recap. Short Fuse to Cybernick destroyed a bunch of badniks
How
and
dare
rescued a
he.
bunch of prisoners. One of them being Techno. And he says, I want you to improve my armor and build me a bomb, because I want to do terrorist stuff for Robotnik. And as they go to Chemical Plant Zone to plant the bomb, they get attacked by Metamorphia, who manages to trump Short Fuse and makes escape by capture, whilst taking Techno as her prisoner. The bomb explodes, Cybernick gets trapped underneath all the wreckage, but gets free and makes his way to Robotnik. And Metamorphia basically exaggerates of like how she was able to defeat the Cybernick, but apparently she let the bomb go off, destroying the entire chemical plant, and in retaliation for what she did, Robotnik removes all her powers and is going to have her turned into a badnik. And thus, we are now at part 5. So, one of the troopers is like, hey, Robotnik, look, the Cybernick's coming. God damn it, someone kill him! It's like, hello, anyone home? And, like, shoot him! And it's like, pew pew! And it's like, ooh, look how shiny my metallic armor is.
Classic super.
And then he just goes, and he just goes shooting everyone. It's like, hey, not so fast, Cybernick. But it's like, is that right? And then
I
he
love the
points
one
his gun
robot
at
going,
Robot-
"Aye!"
Yeah, exactly. And then just as it's like Short Fuse is pointing his like arm cannon at Robotnik, Metamorphia turns up saying like, "Oi, I'm the doctor, and I killed the little birdie. Even if I don't have my Metamorphia powers." It's like, oh, you don't have your powers, and then she just literally just grabs Metamorphia and flings her to the ground. And Robotnik's like, well, stop standing there pointing your arm at me. Just kill me already. It's like, nah, I'm just came here to prove a point. And just to mock you because, you know, you made me and all that sort of such. And he's like, we can just get out of here. It's like, see you later, Doc. And Metamorpho's like, you know, if you didn't take away my powers, I could have stopped them. And Robotnik's like, I'm not listening. I'm not listening to you. like a stroppy child. Not listening. And of course, Short Fuse and Techno return back to Techno's secret lab, but Short Fuse says he's still going to go on the move and basically cause problems around the world for Robotnik, but vows that he will return, which, you know, he is inevitably going to have to because, you know, Techno is obviously going to become one of the main supporting cast of Sonic the Comic in the future.
That made me laugh
And
because
that's-
his last statement to Techno almost sounds like he's the villain. Don't think you've seen the last of me, Techno. I'll be back. Like, is he the good guy or the bad guy?
I will be back to explain more about my backstory.
I also
Yeah.
love how Techno and Cybernick have the same landing pose. Like, oh, they're a team now.
Yeah.
There was even a panel where Short Fuse quotes Mr. Punch, where he goes, "That's the way to do it."
Okay, reference I don't get.
Yeah.
British.
You don't. I've never heard of Punch and Judy.
No, sorry.
Oh well,
I
that's a
have to
whole
watch
new
it then.
thing. It's a British pop tradition, of it's like a puppet show really, with this
Yeah.
naughty person called Mr. Punch, and he abuses his wife called
Oh,
Judy.
we do have that in Dutch too, but we have different names for them. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One
That's
thing I
interesting.
mean, one thing I
I-
want to point out. What? Sorry, you first.
No, no. Okay. I didn't know Punch and Judy was a thing outside of the 2003 Batman cartoon, where they were the Joker's henchmen.
Oh, Punch
yeah.
and Judy's been around for hundreds of years. In fact, the Victorians used to have this a satirical magazine called Punch.
Punch, dag you.
Yeah, in the Netherlands.
I
it's
always
called
wondered
Joe
about their
Boss, I
names.
think.
Yeah, it's a very old traditional puppet show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We
Yeah, I
call it
remember
John
seeing
Claus,
them. I just didn't know they had specific names. Yeah.
Anyway, I love the panel of Dr. Robotnik having these little eye whiskers, like he's trying to be cute. No, don't shoot
Yeah,
me, even though he's still looks evil.
Exactly. I was gonna say it's like he's got like some very over exaggerated sort of like eyelashes going on.
As if he's supposed to look
it's really-
cute and adorable
Yeah.
there, but he still has the same evil
Yes.
face. It doesn't
Yeah.
work at all.
You're not gonna shoot little old me, are you, short fuse?
One panel that I do like is where Short Fuse points his arm at Robotnik, and it looks like he punched him in the nads.
What?
Oh, you know, with the panel where Short Fuse his arm out, and it says like, "No, it's just you and me, Robotnik." But look, he just punched Robotnik in the gonads.
Oh yeah, it does.
Oh, Robotnik has the Coach Buzzcut pose. Like, "Grrr, yes! Like, it's-
Yeah, punching him right in the fingers while he's doing his constipation face.
Your punch cannot harm me, Cybernick. My balls are like balls of steel.
Yeah.
we're making a lot of
Your
Dugan
butt has
references
raised
there.
my testicles.
Feel the wrath of Big Willie.
Metamorphia really reminding me of Megalith a lot in this comic.
How was you supposed to know that was Iron Balls McGinty?
Yeah. But I still like that last panel of Robotnik where he's just sitting on the floor all stroppy. Like,
Pouting like a
not
child.
listening.
I don't
Yeah.
understand.
I also love the panels where like Short Fuse is taking all the bullets and he's using his flamethrower to incinerate all the bad nicks. It's pretty good action there.
Yeah, this is a very good action superhero moment, yeah. And again, I just love those heads of the robots flying around. It's badass and comical at the same time. Your British are so very good at that. It's great.
Yeah.
Because I just find that bit, because even as a youngster, I did find that bit funny of where, like, it's like, your number's up, Cybernick, and, like, literally next panel, he just goes, like, like, nothing major about it, just him just going, whoosh, and he just blows them all up.
Yeah, anticlimactic, yeah. But no, you don't.
It's like, oh, here comes a big action fight, but it's like, nah, I'm just gonna, well, in the last story, we've got to finish this off. No!
It is interesting, though, that Robotnik does not seem to care for his own safety that much. Like, he would rather die than, ask for mercy.
It's kind of fun, yeah, because it's a whole like Mega Man moment where every Mega Man ends with him just pointing his buster at Dr. Wily and him begging on the ground. Like, it's almost like this is like a reverse Mega Man scene.
Yeah, it feels a little out of character for Eggman, because, like, I've never known him to not fear death.
That's a very good point, yeah. It would be more in character to try to distract Cybernick and just run away. That's more his style.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I think it's more sort of like, if I stand my ground, then, he might actually decide, nah, I'm not gonna. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna shoot you. See, yeah, it's like, yes, I called his bluff.
Yeah, I guess he knows he's not gonna kill him.
Yeah. Probably why he's got, like, it's not, his angerment is not like, it's like, oh, shoot, Cybernick, I'll get you next time. It's like, haha, I knew that would work.
Yeah, pretty tough with Dr. Eggman. He looks pretty badass at the end, except that then Emilia is pouting as a kid in the last panel. Like, I'm not listening.
It's especially interesting because like he doubles down on this and like tells Cybernick just shoot already. End me.
Yeah, I'm
But then-
suicidal here. I'm waiting.
But then when Cyber says no, it's like, what? It's like, I'm not going to kill you, but I want you to kill me. Look, here I am. I'm literally got a target right in my belly. Shoot it! It's like, no, I'm just going to go, and Robotnik's just actually clinging on to him, like, just kill me already. Well,
Kill
just
me,
being
damn
dragged
you.
along, like, just kill me, you stupid badnik. It's like, no, I'm not gonna. He just wants death at this point.
Imagine like Short Fuse giving like Robotnik, look, here's this number for suicide hotline. Just give him a call.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
But yeah, speaking of suicidal, even Metamorphia seems kind of suicidal by just waving at Robotnik. Like, ooh, I could have done that. It's like he was already planning on turning into a Batnik. You're kind of pushing him here. I'm kind of surprised Robotnik is just pounding and not just immediately, okay, now I'm going to get all my anger out on you.
Yeah.
Lucky
I'm not
Metamorphia.
going to turn you to a badnik. I'm going to rip your face off.
Yeah. Lucky Metamorphia, he's depressed. But yeah, anything else about this story? Pretty badass, yep. And we shall move on to Amy's snow business.
Snow business like show. Okay, but all right. So I'll do this one. So it's winter time. It's after Christmas apparently, and Knuckles is, I guess, nice enough to let everyone back onto Angel Island for a vacation, which seems a little unlike Knuckles, but whatever. It's Ice Cap Zone. Play Hard Time, Alexa, play Hard Times by the Jetsons. And so everyone's having fun. Amy, of course, is trying to get Sonic under the mistletoe, but it doesn't work because he's fast, so he just runs away. He challenges Knuckles to a race, and Knuckles seems to think he has the advantage because, Knuckles does have a tendency to get around Angel Island quicker than Sonic can, so fair enough. So Amy's pouting, and she goes to climb up the hill to get her mistletoe back, and she accidentally pulls a switch, which releases the Snownick, which is apparently a stupid robot for some reason, like more so than any of Eggman's other robots.
It kind of feels like he's like a snow version of the Sadopolis enemy. Of the...
Yeah. And like so he's not very he's not very bright, and he tries to freeze Amy, and then he freezes her crossbow so she can't shoot him. She runs away, finds a cliff, and realizes, oh, this is gonna be real easy. So she goads him into charging at her, and then she just dodges, and he falls off the cliff and gets destroyed. Because that's how that works. And everyone hears the commotion, comes to check it out. Amy pretends to be in distress, and when Sonic gets close to her, she kisses him on the cheek under the mistletoe. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that was sneaky, Amy. Yeah, we'll wait until next year. Haha.
Dun dun dun. Next year's gonna be a rape.
She's gonna suck his dick.
He's gonna suck his chili dog.
Okay, and that's our one R-rated joke for this stream. Now let's go back to PG. Had to be done. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And Abby thought that she could burn all of my porn jokes.
There you go.
He memorized them all.
You've read them too many times to us.
Yeah. Fool! I have a photographic memory.
Contingency plans.
Yeah, what is there to say? I do find it amusing how Amy looks like when she's goading him. That's kind of funny pose.
I just love how ridiculous the Nick looks. He looks like just an evil-looking heavy metal-inspired snowman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
much.
who's
Kind of
apparently.
fun.
Yeah, when I read this, I just kind of imagined he would like sound like Grimace. Yeah, like, duh, I was created by Robotnik. Yeah.
But I kind of find it funny of how like when Amy's like running away from the Snownick, it's like Snownick's like I'm gonna push her.
Yeah, with hands forward.
Just
It's kind of
Yeah.
fun pose, yeah.
Yeah. Tag, you're it. Yeah.
Also,
He's
correct,
playing
Yeah,
Kiss
he-
Chase.
also, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first time in Fleetway where Amy even shows romantic interest in Sonic? Because I think they really toned that down in the other comics.
No, but yeah, this is the first time where it's like really prominent.
yeah.
Yeah. Which he's like that desperate for a kiss. Yeah.
'Cause in the other comics, I don't remember they ever really bring it up. Maybe in passing once every 20 comics or so. Not that it matters, but
Well-
just an observation, I guess. But yeah,
Kind of also wonder why Johnny decided to join in like the foot race, despite the fact like, he would technically not win at all.
Yeah.
Because Sonic's speed and Knuckles' knowledge of the island, so he's like, he's already automatic loser at this point.
well,
Well, Hare's
to his defense, he has the longest legs, and normally with the longest legs, you probably win. But yeah, when dealing with super-powered Sonic and Knuckles, it doesn't really...
Yeah.
Being a hare himself, oh, is he a rabbit? I mean, I think he's a hare. Like he usually could be pretty fast.
Good point, and he's a hare, and he has longer legs. Would have been funny if
Yeah.
he had like a whole hair movement, like he actually used all 4 of his limbs. Like was just pushing himself forward with his arms and all that.
and plus hares are notorious for winning races against other animals.
Yeah.
Only because I'm too slow to hit the button.
That'd be funny if he's already the slowest of them all, and then he's still gonna take a nap out of confidence. He'd make
Yeah.
it even worse.
I kind of find it funny how like in the last page and like we see the guys coming to Amy's supposed rescue, and yet I'm just seeing how the sort of pose that Johnny has is just like a bit ridiculous. Like he was supposed to have his holding his staff or something, but without it, he's just like, oh yeah, I'm boogieing whilst I'm running to your rescue.
Swing your arms from side to side.
Come on, start to go do the
Do
Mario.
the Marxio.
Yeah, do the Marxio.
Good point.
Yeah.
Also, probably nerdy observation for me, but it looks more like the Sonic Adventure ice cap with the brown mountain cliffs, because in Sonic 3 it was only like North Pole ice stuff. Then again,
Yeah.
it's just a nerdy observation, I guess, for me.
I'm also just wondering, like, somewhat the inconsistent size that Snownick has. I mean, you could put it down to it being, like, maybe perspective, but, like, in the first shot, it's like shows how big he is, but then later on, he shows to be almost the same size as Amy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really badly drawn. It's almost like I was the artist.
He was just melting the moment he got out of his hole.
Considering how long he's been in there for, yeah.
Yeah, it's melted from all that running. Yeah, wanting to give Amy a hug.
Aww.
Come on, Amy, I want a hug.
Yeah, duh, give me a hug, big hedgehog.
I thought he was playing Kiss Chase.
Yeah, and of course him, like, utilising his, like,
I can imagine like
Live.
if Sonic won't kiss you, I will.
yeah.
There you go. That would have been a perfect ending.
Yeah,
Poor Amy.
like the mistletoe was like stuck on his head, just trying to kiss Amy.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think that last panel on like page 4, I think it is, when the Snownick is like, "Oh, me tricked." I would think it would have been funny if, like, if we actually saw, like, him fly off of the cliff while still in that exact pose, like, "No, I've been tricked."
Hell yeah, like a Looney Tunes moment. Yeah. Yeah,
Wally
read
Coyote
you.
shot, yeah.
Like in the new Zelda games, when you freeze an enemy and you can like have them slide down off the cliff.
Yeah.
That's cool. Nice. I love it when you can make enemies knock off cliffs. That's always great.
Yeah.
Makes me happy. Right, shall we move to the final story?
Yeah,
Let's
I'll
do
do
it.
it. That's fine.
Do it. Brute Force, the return of Robotnik robot, I guess.
Yeah, so it's a story focused on Brutus, Robotnik's second in command. So Brute Force Part 1. It starts off with kind of a typical day with these robots. They're going around rounding up civilians, and he's just Brutus has decided to divide the prisoners into two groups, and one of them's like, "Oh, well, why are we doing that, Commander?" And he's like, "Because shut up, bitch." And it's like, all right, so half the prisoners go to this prisoner shuttle, and the rest of you come with me to the Metropolis Zone. Oh, ha, ha. So then it cuts to Brutus at Robotnik's headquarters, and it's like, excellent job, Brutus. Although this seems a lot smaller than the last match. It's like, oh no, it's fine. And the Robotnik's just gloating. He's like, I'm so glad I made you my second in command, having my same brain length and everything. It's like, oh yes, indeed, Doctor. And then we see Brutus heading to Grimer's lair, because apparently they've been working on some kind of device. Portable brain scanners. As he claims that he's going to use the device to plop it onto Sonic, so that he'll have, like, his brain patterns. Like, alright, I'll know everything of where Sonic is hiding, or where the Emerald Hill folk are at, ha ha ha. And Grimer's like, oh yes, a plan that's even worthy as Dr. Robotnik. And that really annoys Brutus, like, why must I live in his shadow? So he's like, alright, screw this, change of plans. And then he stuns Grimer and uses the device on him, so that way he is even more smarter than Robotnik, now that he has Grimer's tech skills. So it's like, now I have the same knowledge as Grimer, now I can build my own army of badniks, loyal only to me! Mwahaha! To be continued.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Grimer looks so funny when the brain machine is used on him, like he's just enjoying
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
He's like,
Vibing.
Peace, man.
Relaxing.
It's therapeutic.
I do like how
Especially
there's
after
so
that.
many warped facial expressions in this strip, like with Robotnik's weird bendy grin, and you got like Grimer with one of his eyes expanded, and then there's another one where he gets shot and Grimer starts freaking out.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, the Robotnik looks weird, like a circus mirror thingy, like a funny mirror.
Yeah. The trick mirrors. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun, clearly, the artists, with the face expressions
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I guess the weird-looking Robotnik is the side effects of the whole having his brave waves connected to Brutus. Warning: will cause distortion to the face.
I also love the first panel as well, where Brutus and his troops like kill everything, and you got all the animals in the front.
Yeah. Just seeing all that just makes me want to basically take the comics, rub out all of the wording, and just have him say all this stuff like, "Kill all the furries, leave no survivors."
Sure, why not? It's the anti-fur
Although
affinity team
yeah.
squad.
Did notice, like, in the first panel, like, there's literally someone in the water going, like to the left of the rabbit.
Oh yeah, there's like
drowning.
a small silhouette of a guy like in the water.
Drowning, ooh, that's dark. Rabbit really looks like Johnny, especially with the red coat on. Well, not in the second panel, then it looks differently. But in the
Also, you got some very clashing art styles, because all the troopers and Brutus have this sort of realistic look, and all the animal characters look really derpy looking.
yeah, especially when the proportions are wrong, like in the middle page in the second, the middle panel of the second page. Yeah, maybe someone else drew them, or they were added later to fill up the backgrounds. I don't know. Then again, since it has to be made in 2 weeks, I guess the artist didn't have much time to perfect it.
Yeah, because Carl needed a colorist to help him do all this in time.
I can't imagine. Maybe the colorist drew the furry characters. But yeah, art style a little bit uneven in this one. Unfortunately, because there are a lot of awesome bits, and the robots look cool. I always love how all the limbs flying apart when the robots get killed and they're completely decapitated.
Yeah.
Nice and gruesome.
Especially with the sort of, and as you say, like how they always, what the last words are being,
Yeah.
Yeah.
with a wonky jaw.
Yeah, being blasted to pieces, and meanwhile the robot head flying go.
We're getting a lot of mileage out of that button.
Yes.
Uh,
And there's like, and I think we'll be using it forever.
Oh no!
Forever.
Forever.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, bringing back that classic Roger. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been using Wii U very much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the introduction
classic
establishing Shadow
baseball.
Eggman's base looks kind of weird with a close up of the pupils staring right in your soul.
Oh yeah.
The artist had a lot
Yeah,
of fun. That's clear. Yeah.
Mhm.
But although looking at it, it's like I'm just noticing like how like Citadel Robotnik is like leaning to the right, but yet all the buildings are leaning to the left. So at this point, I'm wondering like, okay, has the Citadel toppled over at some point?
The Citadel's taking a nap.
Yeah.
why not?
It's the leaning tower of the Citadel.
With his eyes wide open while taking a nap. Guess it's a cat or something.
He sleeps
I
with
think
his
what
eyes
happened was that he built it on a swamp.
It's just sinking.
Speaking of multi-button.
Yeah.
Well, it does
Yeah,
have
he-
water around it, so I'm assuming it has sunk at some point.
I bet he was like saw like a picture of the Legion of Doom from like the Justice Friends. It's like, I could do better, and then it sinks halfway. Like shit.
And just calls it the leading Citadel of Robotnik.
There you go.
Top tourist attraction in Metropolis Zone.
Yeah.
Tower of Pisa, except with more robots. The Tower of Egg. Egg pizza.
Yeah. Come visit the Egg Cafe with our specialty, rotten eggs.
Of course.
And Scotch eggs.
And yet, that Sonic X episode is
Black
the first
vinegar
time I
with
see
egg.
Eggman actually consume an egg. Well, except the Fleetway, he also did that once. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the one-off story.
Hmm.
good stuff. But yeah, I think we're done with this story. Or is anyone else?
See,
something?
I think, like, could we leave off with this on 69 this charming fan art picture of Egg Robotnik with his pants falling down?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
That
from
one.
from the fan art bit. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk
And
about the
he's-
fan art. There's plenty of it. Yeah, Robotic with his blue face.
He's so
Yeah.
embarrassed he turned into a Smurf.
I would be more embarrassed then.
Even Dr. Frankenfurter's shocked.
Yeah.
Staring right at Robotic. See you balls.
Yeah, because even in the little text above it says like decap for Frankenstein, horrified by Robotnikers.
Robotnik.
Robotnikers. Oh, of course, she brings that one.
Yeah. But yeah,
Be sure to emphasize the K in that word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Robotnikers.
Yeah, the knickers. Yeah.
Knickers.
Nick Curse, yeah. Sorry.
It's very hard to say with those sort of like unique puns.
Yeah.
Also, this is fan art of Knuckles, which immediately reminded me of Luke's art style, especially with the stripes in his eyes. Really reminded me of it.
Like a mafia boss or something.
Yeah, it's Sonic characters having jobs. I also like the fireman with his creepy eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So much
Don't know
fun.
why I get like a Bart Simpson vibe from that picture of Sonic as a fireman.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
Sonic's
yeah.
face, yeah. So only needs
It's
an
like the-
underbite and then it'll be perfect.
Yeah, it almost kind of looks like Sonic if he was designed in like the 1950s or something. You know, like kind of
Yeah.
low budget animation style.
Mouse-ish. But yeah, I love
But yeah,
all
I think the
the
Robotnik.
job artwork. The tilts with
Yeah,
his
I think
derpy
the
crystal.
robot.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just think the Robotnik chef is kind of look like something Luke would draw.
Yeah, Dalmeister,
Yes,
yeah.
isn't it?
There's an uncanny resemblance to the Doughmeister.
Yeah.
It's the Domemeister's long lost brother.
Also, note to say, I already made Tills a doctor, even though I don't think him being obsessed with science has been really established yet. So that's kind of interesting
Yeah.
coincidence.
Yeah, not in Fleetway. Yeah.
He's not the scientist yet. Yet here they made him a doctor. Although I guess more a medical doctor than a technical doctor, but close enough. He has a white white jacket on, so there you go.
Yeah.
And of course, Sonic
Yeah.
looked very British in his British bowler hat and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well as and of course Sonic has apparently used up his last life and just became an angel.
Ah, how tragic.
Yeah,
Love this
and then,
And
fact.
he did it all for Christmas.
What
yeah,
was
lots
the
of
announcement?
different themes with the issues. Yeah. So there's the first one we covered, it's like another Christmas themed one. Then the second one we covered, that's the jobs related one. And then the third one, surprisingly, that's all themed after Batman, or Bat-Hog, as it's called in the
Oh, yeah.
issue.
No. Bad hug.
Because I
bad
think
hug.
that Batman Forever was coming out around that time.
Yeah, because there's even
Yeah.
like a Q section about how do you do this level in Batman Forever.
Oh
I
yeah,
hate
on
that
the
game.
Super NES.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Batman Forever. It sucked back then, and it sucks forever. Yeah.
Including that odd sort of move from Robin where it's like he's playing the flute when he pull like a certain uppercut move.
Yeah.
Because I think even one angry reviewer, basically had him play that saxophone tune, like da 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 da. But yeah,
Yeah, so it was weird. It's like, watching like the AVGN video on it. At first you're like, oh, I'm sure it's not that bad. And then when he describes the layout of the control schemes, it's like, jeez, what the hell were they thinking?
It's
I
a
just
shame
kinda
because it
find that-
looks cool, Mortal Kombat style.
Yeah.
I mean, I find that one sort of Bat Sonic picture funny,
Where
where
he's
it's
a
basically
car?
Sonic with basically it's Sonic with just the Bat logo in his stomach and like the cape.
Oh
But
yeah,
it's like the person drew his face so tiny.
yeah, it's a tiny face Sonic.
Also, like he's in
Like-
a funhouse mirror.
Need a
face.
magnifying glass, Sonic.
Also, only his ears and arms are tan.
Oh yeah.
The rest is white. Oh, that's a different take.
Hmm.
Oh well, making fun of kids. How
Yeah.
evil of us.
And then
Yeah.
of course you got Amy as Catwoman, which is an interesting choice there.
But yeah, you also noticed
Latex.
Eggman as the Riddler, and you know who
Yeah.
played both roles.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
god.
Man,
Oh
that's
my
one-
god.
That's one hell of a coincidence. This
Yeah,
issue
it
was
is.
predicting the future.
Yeah. Did this guy go on to write for The Simpsons? What's going on here?
Who knows?
Yeah. Like someone should make a video somewhere like, oh yeah, you know how the Simpsons predicted the future? Well, here's a bunch of like Sonic stuff that predicted the future.
So wait, how did the Simpsons predict the future?
Of course.
They weed into the future.
Yeah, they just used that random time travel thing, the toaster from the Treehouse of Horror special.
Indeed, they
But
probably
yeah,
did.
you can see in that picture of that very tiny face of Sonic.
Oh, that's the picture you meant. I thought you were talking about.
Yeah.
The Oh, sorry, I am.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There it is.
It's just so tiny.
Yeah.
No, or as Heavy would say, it's just so tiny.
Yeah. It is so tiny.
But he's so very happy, so I guess Sonic's fine with it.
Yeah, though granted though, seeing that just reminds me of how I used to draw Sonic back then, like a gigantic head but yet such a tiny face that didn't fit the body well.
It's not easy drawing proportions as a kid. I still suck
Yeah.
at it today.
Yeah, I've been slowly getting better with my own artwork with, well, at least with Sonic characters, but yeah, like, I always hate drawing hedgehogs, because, I don't know, I guess it's just the quills. It's like, okay, how the hell do you design the quills to make them look good and not all weird and janky?
Have you find out? Because I still don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's why I was never really a fan of, like, trying to draw a hedgehog character. It's like, no, let's draw the character, like Echidnas or Komodo dragons or whatever. Yeah.
There you go. Right. I think we got to the end of our stream for today.
Yeah, looks like it.
I kind of feel tired anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that was a lot of 69 today.
69 dudes!
Nice.
There you go. Excellent, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It might
right.
go. The 69 part might go away for a bit, but it will return in Dissected Alive.
69 dudes!
Yeah.
Well, can always use a little Bill and Ted in our videos. Why not?
Exactly.
Everyone loves Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, indeed we
Especially when he behaves like a stoner guitarist.
Yeah.
do. Still haven't seen Bill and Ted 3. How bad of me.
I still haven't seen Bill and Ted 2.
Oh, I haven't seen any. Oh, I haven't seen any Bill and Ted film.
Blasphemy! Do your homework and watch those right now. But yeah, that's the end of our video. So, see y'all. Anyone has a final message? Oh, there you go. Can't be better than that, I guess.
Do it!
This is turning into a nightmare.
Six.
Oh god, the button's broken. Oh, there it
I was
is.
trying to summon the Satan.
69! 666.
Execute order 6069.
Do it!
Exactly. You little piggy. We're all
Do it!
Well,
okay. I'm gonna quit before I lose my
Yeah.
mind. See you guys.
Yeah.
yeah, go